All that quest, all that.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello people and welcome to Footy Judgment. Liam Rosenior.
Full screen him more. Full screen him.
Sack.
Full screen him.
Liam Rosenior.
Don't let him talk. Let him talk. You talk. You start off the show. Start off the show. Go on. Go on, Quest. Go on, Quest. You fraud. All that. No need to say anything. Just let Quest talk. Go on, Quest. Talk. No, you can't hide. Talk to the people. Address the people in the chat. Go on. You're on mute.
He's not on mute.
You're
He's
on
doing
mute.
it on purpose, bro. It's a bit.
Doing it on purpose. You're on mute. Stop playing games.
You're on mute.
You're muted.
Guys, is he actually?
Oh,
on mute?
my bad.
Alright.
Go on.
I thought he was lying.
I can't believe it, you know. I actually can't believe it. I'm lost for words. I don't
What do you mean?
know
What do you mean? Hold on.
tell
Are
me.
you not happy? Are you not happy?
No.
What the
No,
fuck?
he
Are
said
you not
he-
happy?
He said he wanted to keep him.
Stability. That was my main
Stability, but
concern.
bro, stability, my ass. But guys, I'm just gonna say
Hey, go on,
something
Mo.
before
Hassan
you
agrees
go.
with them as well.
Hit that like button, people. Subscribe to the channel. Sam is bantering. We know that. We speak of it. Guys, this is Dan. If you guys haven't met Dan,
Big up, Dan.
Dan is an Arsenal fan. Great guy. I met the other day. I was watching him and I invited him to my show, and everyone in the chat loved him. He's amazing, actually. I got a lot of people telling me you have to bring this guy on again. Can you turn on your light? We need to.
I'm trying. I mean, the problem is the lights at the back. It's bad. What can I tell you?
Just put the light down from the
I'm
back.
actually trying here. I've got full studio lights, so it's not working that better. I'm not pretty anyway. It'll be fine.
Yes. Big up everyone that is here. Touchline, why do you need the link? Why is Touchline need the link? What is he gonna come to cook, Wes?
Oh,
What?
please don't let this guy come on, bro. I cannot. I'll go in a heartbeat, bro. I don't want to listen
Why?
to this guy. No, because he's just coming on to do. Hey, what about pal? You know what I said, pal? Man United are back, pal. We don't care, bro. We got bigger fish to fry.
Big up that slide.
Bigger fish to fry.
Yeah,
You got a bigger fish to fry. But listen, I am happy for Chelsea. I think that Chelsea are gonna
start the cycle again. I'm so happy.
I'm so happy for Chelsea
Who they
because
gonna hire
finally
before
we
make up again?
we can
Who they
be
gonna
positive. Thank you, the man from Uncle Mo sacked Rosenior. I didn't, but I didn't.
No,
but
he
listen,
More Senior is sacked. I think he
yes.
just
Because I think I'm happy for Chelsea.
What are you gonna
I'm
hire?
ex-
What are you gonna hire?
I am excited to absolutely to see what is coming up for Chelsea because I don't think the squad is as bad and the team is not as bad as what people say. Actually, I like the team. I don't think the team is awful. By the way, there is a talk about Nagelsmann, but I don't think they're going to get a manager now, actually. I think they're going to get a caretaker.
حقصه من الآخر يعني.
Even if Nagelsmann joins Chelsea, they will not progress. He's not that good of a coach. I think he's overrated, and he will fail and get exposed way more with Chelsea.
Really?
You
don't think
that
Nagelsmann is a
sporting
good...
directors can sit with Nagelsmann and convince him to do this youngster shit, and he'll say yes after managing the German national team in Bayern Munich? Are you mad?
What? Yeah, why are we doing
I think
this?
they can,
He's
but
the
I don't...
manager of the German national team. It's not like he's a manager.
Oh
of the
yeah.
Like he's not leaving the German national team to.
He might leave the German national team after the World Cup. Why is wrong with you
if
people?
you leave the German national team, with all due respect, yeah,
You're
if
going to
you
Chelsea.
leave the German national team, you go to manage Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Madrid. You don't go manage Chelsea in the Conference League.
If they make the Conference League.
Damn.
I think they
I
do.
get it. Sorry
Look,
to say this, because I also love Bayern Munich, right? And I thought the way Nagelsmann was treated by Bayern Munich was a disgrace. And the reasons that he left Bayern Munich have gone as well now. So Oli Kahn's gone, Salihamidzic has gone. So there's a better chance, I think, of him going to Bayern Munich than there is of Chelsea. But he is the so you can say that Germany will have a bad World Cup if you're that confident. Fair play to you, but I think exactly that. If he leaves the German national team, he's not looking around or where do I go next, is he? And that's still.
I think the next candidate for Chelsea is very obvious. He just promoted Coventry. Yeah, he just promoted Coventry back to the Premier League.
I think you're all deluded. I think you're all deluded.
He's a Chelsea legend. He's been there before. He's worked with some of the youngsters. I think this screams Frank Lampard 2.0. Oh, 3.0, sorry. 3.0.
5.0.
Actually,
he just said that he's fallen in love with Coventry. I don't know if that's even possible, but that's what he said.
Go on, Quest, sing it with me. Super.
Get out, man.
He's not going to get a chance to age men now.
Why is Quest so miserable? Why are you miserable, Quest?
No, I'm not miserable, but it's just
you happy Rosenior's gone?
No, it's just another thing, man. Do you know why? Yeah, because I feel like...
Can we give him the mic now to speak about his club? Go ahead.
Bro, it's just like... all the sins of the past ownership, bro, you lot are going to repeat it again. I just don't understand. What is the point? For me, it's like, what is the point? Do you know what? The only thing I can understand, is... after he said what he said yesterday, he had to go eventually. And he basically can't take the next game because he's basically said, these lot suck. Yeah, and their mentality sucks as well. So he can't take the next game. But for me, it's just like, bro, what is the point? Especially if you ain't got a new manager lined up. Yeah, this for me is the part where I'm going, okay, now you said you sacked him. Yeah, and I think, to be honest, Rosenior already was saying that whether it's him or not him, he was kind of saying a few months back, I'm telling them what they need to do, right? But I just think now, you really have to change this, because I think I've been one of the more patient fans, and I just feel like if my patience runs out, I don't really know who else will be left, to be honest with you, because anybody past me is like far left. And that is just pure delusion. Mine was just hope that things could be better, hope that things could improve, hope that things would change, because you have to believe that they're going to turn things around if they started off okay. But this, I'm just going, in the long term, right?
I think it's very good news. I'm sorry for you. I want to be objective here. I think this is very good news for you. I think that Chelsea will move forward from now, because I think the owners, their way, okay, to be honest with you, let's just be honest with each other. And everyone knows that they sacked Rosenior because they think the team is not going the right way, which is, I think, logically speaking, that means they're going to learn that hiring a young manager like this without experience isn't going to work. And I think they're going to learn from the mistake and they're going to hire a manager. I'm not saying they're going to go and hire Hansi Flick. I'm not saying this. But I'm thinking now that they're going to hire someone that is competent enough to lead the team going forward. And with all due respect to Quest and everyone that backed Rosenior, if you backed Rosenior, you didn't like Chelsea the way I see Chelsea now, as a club that has a good team that shouldn't be losing 5 games in a row the first time since 1912. With all due respect, I know that you want stability. Rosenior doesn't provide stability because he's losing. Stability is only there when you're at least showing a sign of progression. I think you're going to get a manager. I think now you got a chance of winning probably the FA Cup, even if you hire John Terry, because it will galvanize the team. Because your team is better than Leeds. And now in a cup final, we never know what is going to happen. Man City play Southampton. And for me, I'm looking at this and I'm looking at the news are saying that they're going to negotiate with Xabi Alonso. The news are saying they're going to negotiate with Nagelsmann to see if he's going to leave Germany. This is good news for Chelsea. It's not bad news for you.
By the way,
it's good.
I think you're being deluded. No, I'm sorry.
I'm not saying.
Why am I being deluded? How am I
think you're being deluded for thinking. I think.
Let him talk. Let Ashraf say.
I think you're being only for one thing, by the way. I think you're being deluded because you think the reason they sacked him is because they learned their lesson. No, the reason they sacked him is because of what Quest said. Because he came out in the press conference and shat on the players. And the players probably went to the owners and said, "Get this guy the hell out of the club.
Yeah, you can't.
We don't respect him anymore." And the owners, value the players more than the manager because they're assets to the club. Because they're trying to make profit off them. So if the players are unhappy, they will make the easy decision. They didn't sack him because, now we learned our lesson and turns out he was not the right guy all along. No, it's because he spoke shit in the press conference and now they had to react because the players were not happy. That's what happened, and you will see it in their next signing.
Because this is what now. Because I was very reluctant to say we're going back to square one because I just didn't believe it. Ash, you okay? What's going on there, brother? Oh, okay. Praise the Lord.
Bro, stop it! I know your stupid mind went.
It just threw me off, bro.
I do want to do it while I'm freaking while I have the mic on, bro. What the hell? My God, this is like the Tom accusation, bro. I ain't Tom.
Man. No, do you know what? My thing is, I was reluctant to say that because for me, I didn't the whole time where I've defended BlueCo. And by the way, I know people are saying I'm BlueCo in. It's never that I'm BlueCo in. I'm just not BlueCo out yet because I don't think we can sell and all these things right now, right? But my thing is, is this is the first time I can appreciate the argument of saying we're back to square one. And the reason I support that argument now is because in Lampard's interim stint at the back end of, I think it was 3 seasons ago, when they sacked, I think it was Tuchel, he was talking about how bad the dressing room was and how there's players here that don't want to play for the club. So now I'm looking at what Rosenior is saying. And I'll be honest with you. This is what I honestly think happened with the Rosenior deal, with the Rosenior hiring, I think the club got wind of what Maresca was doing, weren't happy with it, felt disrespected by it. And then in the end thought, well, we're going to have to make a move, but let's talk to him and see what he wants to do. I think they spoke about it. Maresca said, if something better comes along, I'm going. And at that point, they were like, you know what? That's too much disrespect for us. Cool. We will humbly shake hands and let you go your own way. I think at that point, they naturally rang someone within their company structure and said, we need you to come in and just hold the fort until the end of the season. We don't expect you to take us to wherever, but what we just want you to do is come in, hold the fort, assess the players we've got now, and just give us an understanding of where we need to improve in the summer because things cannot continue this way. I reckon that's what happened. And just as time has gone on, results have got worse and worse and worse to the point where now he's spoken out about the players as Ash has doubled down. I think they've gone, it's not even on Rosenior. It's the fact that this has become such a cluster bomb. We have to act. And if we don't act now, we risk really bringing the players back onto us as a club. Because remember, obviously, some of them weren't happy as well. And we also risk losing our guy who we still have good favor with. So I think people, the board are not coming out trashing Rosenior. They're very, a lot of the briefs are coming out saying that they respect what he's done. They understand where he's come in. It's a results business. I think they've shaken hands behind the scene and just gone, bro, thank you for all that you've done. We know that you can't do anymore. Appreciate it and move on. But what I don't like about this is now you are going backwards again. Where Maresca's left, whether you sacked him or not, it doesn't matter. Yeah, he's left. You've now brought in your guy and you've sacked him. You've not shaken hands with him and let him go. You sacked him. How can you sack the guy you hired? That's not cool. So for me, this is now where, for me, I'm turning. before I didn't turn because I am not one of these people that.
By the way, there is no point of you turning on the owners. Actually, just
no,
to let
it's
you know,
not.
guys,
It's not turning in saying I want them out. It's I'm turning saying the grace that I had for you is now going. If not, I almost want to say the grace I had for you is gone. Because at the end of the day, no one can tell me that we hadn't improved. No one can tell me that, right? I watched my team finish 12th.
Excuse me?
Yes. No one can tell me my team hadn't improved because we finished 12th. Mind you, under Tuchel, we won 1 Champions League, finished 3rd, and then lost 2 FA Cups and 1 League Cup. We didn't challenge for the league at all in that time Tuchel was here. We sacked him. Lampard came in. We didn't challenge for the title. We lost another, I think we lost another League Cup or FA Cup final. Poch came in. We finished 6th, so we improved based on what we had brought in, right? Reached another Carabao Cup final and lost. So we were improving in the sense that our league position was getting better and players were getting better. And I agree now what people said. In the summer, there was too many outgoings that we didn't improve upon. Now, people are going to get really upset about the language used, but if you actually listen to what I'm saying, it actually does make sense. But you can accept
You're
truth or not.
You're a teacher, right? You're a teacher.
I'm a chaplain. It's close. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Not a politician, although I answer questions like that.
Kind of a politician.
But at the end of the day, it is true. We were moving forward, right? And had we had 1 or 2 more domestic trophies to show for it, people would probably be talking about it differently. Unfortunately, this season, we've massively regressed. And that is so unfortunate because at the end of the day, we started off so well. I was never one of these people, that said Chelsea in the title race from the start of the season. Never once left my mouth. Whenever I was on any show and they asked me, what would you be happy with? I said top 4 and a domestic trophy. We're now not going to get top 4. If we get Champions League football, I can stomach it. If we also win
You aren't going to get Champions League football, I think.
It's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, but I don't think you will.
We probably won't.
Don't give me the answer. Yeah.
No, but
I want your opinion.
I'm telling you the truth. 100%.
I know you are honest. I don't think you're going to get Champions League football. And if you get Champions League, everything is possible. Listen, Man United, it is possible they win the league. If Arsenal and City lose all their games, and Man United win all their games. It is possible. No, mathematically, it is possible. I don't think you're going to get Champions League football because I don't see the signs of you getting Champions League football.
But when I'm saying that, it's not even just based on performances. There's also the reality that if we finish 6th and Aston Villa win the Europa League, that final place in the Champions League will drop down further.
I don't think you're going to finish 6th.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying, that it is possible. So I'm not saying anything that isn't untrue.
It is possible, and I never said otherwise.
Okay, right. So my point
I never said otherwise. Wallahi al-azim, I never said otherwise.
Okay, fine. That's why I'm saying now I'm frustrated. That's what.
But to say that you improve, can I ask you something?
Do you guys think?
Guys, just before we go on with the conversation, I want to ask a question. As of today, are the Chelsea project failing? Is there a fail? Can I say today? Okay, Judge Mo, probably I'm the one who did YouTube before all of you here. In 2023, I said publicly, and people in the chat will back me on this, I said, for the good of football, this project has to fail. And then Chelsea as a club, I don't want Chelsea as a club to fail, but I said the way they are running the club has to fail. And the reasons why I said that is the way they bought the Koulibaly, Sterling, Aubameyang, blah, 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 but Yashil and all these people. And then they went on completely offloaded these guys and went young. And I said, I don't think, and they spent all this money without building a formidable squad. I said, for the good of football, this player trading scheme has to fail. Can I sit here and say the project has failed and these guys need to change the approach for Chelsea to go back to be one of the top clubs again? Is that fair to say?
No, you can't say the project has failed. You can say the approach in the last season or this last summer has failed. Yes. The approach they took this summer has failed.
So you don't think the project from 2022 until now has failed? No, you don't think that approach is failed? No, and they need to change it completely?
Yeah, the approach has failed, but the project has not failed. The project is still ongoing. So there's no way you can even say it's failed, right?
If you change the approach, that means you admit failure in your approach.
No, because
100%. That's how it is.
But you're convoluting stuff. You're
I am
mixing
not
two things
convoluting
together.
anything.
I can't have this conversation. We're just mixing things together that don't make sense. I'm saying one of two things. You can say the approach has failed, but the project is still working the way it's supposed to.
You define project, because I think this is semantics now. You're saying the project.
Of course, it's semantics.
So just so that we're all on the same page.
So the project is 3-4 years ago, the club took over and said they want to be ready to challenge for all major honors in 6 to 10 years.
Right.
So can I say the project has failed? No. Can I say
because it hasn't reached the timeline yet? Is that what you're
hasn't
saying?
reached the timeline yet?
Okay.
Also, can I say
you're
the project
saying
has moved on?
But then you went on to say that the approach has failed.
I'm saying the approach this summer has not worked.
Okay, so if you have a project, isn't the approach also part of that project?
Of course, but if
the approach has failed, then part of the project must have failed.
In the summer, Mo said Chelsea should be challenging for the title.
Okay, but I'm not. You're not talking about
100%. I agree. I still stand by.
So
if Mo believes part of the project or the approach, so
if Mo believes we should be challenging for the title, he cannot believe the project is failing if he thought we should be challenging for the Premier League.
I think that's why it's so important that we get the definitions correct. I don't know if I'm not going to speak for Mo, and Mo's here to speak for himself. I'm not going to speak for you either. But I am sitting here independently, thinking to myself, I personally think that it's wrong to say the project has failed, because I'm almost certain that BlueCo didn't buy Chelsea to win silverware. They bought BlueCo to make money. They bought Chelsea to make money. And I think they will make a lot of money. After this World Cup, most of the Premier League's assets will increase in value by a ridiculous rate, as long as the World Cup goes ahead. So if you're an investment company, you don't really care if you win silverware unless it affects your bottom line. And I'm not sure it's affecting Chelsea's bottom line just at this point, because they're not falling apart. But if you're sitting here saying that the project has not failed because the ambition was to win silverware, then I think certain elements of that project have to be called out as having failed, because you're not any closer now to winning silverware than you were at the commencement of the project. If the silverware we're talking about is a Conference League, yes, you're closer. If the silverware we're talking about is a World Club Cup, you are the world's best football team. But actually, if the project is on some level to be judged by the Premier League and the Champions League, failure to qualify again for the Champions League, and you saying I never said we were going to challenge for the Premier League. Do you think you're going to challenge for the Premier League in 2 years' time?
It's very possible. Yes.
No, I'm not saying obviously it's possible. I mean, anything is possible. But I'm saying, do you think that you will be challenging for the Premier League in 2 years' time?
I think it all depends on what we do this summer.
Yes, I appreciate that. But I
can't say any more because
sorry, Dan, can I intervene? I think Chelsea can challenge within a year or two if they admit that the project has failed and their approach has failed, and they change the way they run the club, and they hire a competent manager, and they change the way of buying young players, and admit failure in their approach and start approaching the market differently. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely fair to say. The approach this summer has not been successful. Yes.
Not this summer. The approach of this project has failed, Quest.
How can you say
Why
it failed?
are you adamant to say that?
Because I watched my team go from 12th to 6th to 4th. We improved every single year. Every single year we improved with worse players each season.
With worse players? You've gotten better.
Our players got progressively worse as they continued through the summers, is what I'm saying to you, right? We started off in that first window with who? Koulibaly, Sterling, João Felix, Mudryk, all these different players. Now we're left with Gittins and Garnacho. You can't tell me that we haven't regressed in terms of our squad building too.
Wasn't that part
That's
of the
a
project,
real
though?
thing.
Surely, so as
That
every
is.
approach, as every part of this project has failed, but the project's on course. That's amazing.
I don't believe every part of the project has failed. I don't believe every part of the project has failed. I think even
Which
when
part of
people
the project's working well for you at the moment?
Well, for me, it's a very smart thing to do to know that you're going to go through a tough period of time with young players. So you secure them to contracts that mean they can't just jump ship when things get difficult. That's a very smart thing to do.
Do you think that's why they did it?
Well, I'm not them. I don't know. That's just my belief, right?
Can I present another argument for your
for sure.
consideration? Okay, so if I'm an investment company, one of the smart ways of spreading out the costs is to amortize over a longer period of time. So instead of paying a player over 5 years, I pay them over 8 years, which takes my accounting down to a point where, but the reality of what I think is happening is that BlueCo want lots of assets on their books because each of those assets, be it Gittins or Garnacho, have a value that adds to the overall value of the club. And the more of those you have, the better the average value of your club is. And when you're looking to buy and sell clubs, that's a really important thing. So the idea that they've tried to tie players to the club for a long period of time, it doesn't really make a reason most clubs don't do that is because even players who are great for 3 or 4 years can go very much off the boil. And if the project is a footballing project, you don't really want people tied in for 7 years. There may be an exception in Erling Haaland at Man City because I don't think anyone really thinks he's going to be terrible in 3 or 4 years' time. But for the players you're talking about, I can't imagine any of them that you're going to want in 3 or 4 years. I'm not sure how many of them you want now. And more importantly, the problem in football is that you're not talking about assets like BlueCo would normally talk about. You're talking about people. So you might want Enzo Fernandez to stay for 7 years, but 3 years of this, and he suddenly says, do you know what? I have a very short career and I can't just sit on my career.
I agree. Chelsea. I agree, and that's why I think for
sure. How do we rate the Chelsea's? Okay, let me do the super chats because I want to ask now the question. LinkedIn Liam is open to work. Maybe Arsenal can get him after they sack Arteta if that is, and they start a new project. Yeah, and they start a new project. Big up my man for the MT super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
We're waiting for Fabregas.
Stability Club, 25 trophies, firing. So we like, by the way, I don't understand what does that mean?
Who does he support?
Chelsea, probably. Stability Club, 25 trophies, firing. So maybe that's Chelsea. But I want to ask you guys something. Guys, can we get the likes up, guys, to 200? Hit that like button. Do we rate this Chelsea team? Like, what I mean by this? So if Chelsea get a decent manager, do we think that this Chelsea team is good enough?
To do what?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a question. So we're gonna put a benchmark here. Where do we rank Man United team? What is the aspirations next season?
Challenge for the
Why
league.
does that matter with Chelsea? Why does that matter?
I'm gonna tell you. Because I'm gonna build it based on that. I'm gonna
you don't build
it.
your club's goals based on what other clubs are doing.
No, I'm building the argument between us. I don't give a fuck about BlueCo. I'm building our debate based on what we think.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
United next season will have a better squad than Chelsea.
I think you could argue they have a better squad now, to be honest with you.
I wouldn't say that. I'd say the best
think
11. Yeah. But better squad, I would probably go Chelsea. They've got more depth.
So is it fair to? Is it okay? So okay, let me tell you
on Brighton energy. I don't understand. Why?
Let me ask you guys a question. Is it fair for me to say?
Not bad, by the way.
Let me ask you guys the question. The question is very simple. Is it fair to me to say that if Chelsea get a decent manager and they approach the market as Man United will approach the market, which is, by the way, that is the briefing that they might start getting players that are experienced, right? That's the briefing. The briefings from the journalists in the article saying that they actually probably admitted that that approach might not get them even the valuation they think, okay? If Chelsea approach the market, you won't be able to change your whole team. You're going to hire 2-3 players like Man United, 2-3-4 players max, right? So is it fair to say that the aspirations for Chelsea should be the same as Man United if they hire a competent manager and they approach the market as good as Man United?
I don't think it's relevant. Their aspirations depend on what they.
Chelsea have the pull that Man United have, especially without Champions League football.
I agree with that.
Fair. That's
Yeah,
a very fair point.
that's
They
a
don't
good
have-
point.
they
but-
don't have
Just
the
one
money
second, just
and
out
the
of curiosity,
wages.
touchline. Who did you sign last summer? All of them. Just tell me all of
Cunha
them.
and Mbeumo, Lamens, and Sesko. And that was better than Chelsea.
Okay, if I'm being objective,
Yeah, but they all came from teams that
If I'm being
are lesser
objective,
than Man
Klopp
United
must-
as well. So there's a little bit of.
If I'm
You'd
being-
take
Like
any
none
them,
of
wouldn't
them,
you?
yeah,
You would
yeah.
take
You know what I
any
mean?
of
It's
them.
not like you sign superstars from
club is
Bayern.
lesser- every club's lesser than Man United.
No, but if we're being honest, it's not like you
No, no,
sign
don't do
players
that,
from
don't do that, don't do
from Bayern Munich. You sign
We
players
aren't
from
discussing
Wolves,
this. I told you to be
Brentford.
reasonable.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
The
Yes,
reality
here's
is,
the thing.
Quest
I
makes
think
a
you
good
could be
point. because these
objective and
players,
say that 3 out of those 4 signings was a success.
I think all 4.
Now,
Yeah.
okay, touchline. خلاص, you don't
yeah,
have to
3.
bet.
Sesko is definitely not a success.
3
But the
out of
reality
4
is,
is
Quest makes a good point. Quest makes a good point because these players come from teams that are like even with United finishing 15th last season, it's still a massive step up to go to United at that time. But
100%.
would United have been able to get a player from PSG or from Atletico even or any of these other top teams? I'm not even saying like Bayern and Barca. I'm talking about like teams
Yeah.
that can compete but are not the very, very best.
But who is getting players from PSG and Atletico?
United can get players from anyone.
No,
As long as the
Atletico
player
you can.
wants to come.
Barcelona can get players from Atletico.
Obviously,
I think
we're not going to be able
I
to sign
think
Mbappe.
City can
are
get
we?
players
Because
from
Mbappe
Atletico.
won't want to come. But I'm
but
saying
then why did you sign Sesko, not Julian Alvarez?
because we don't have
Yeah.
the money for that.
No,
If Man United had the money, I'm sure we would have gone through Julian Alvarez. We didn't have the money last summer.
What do you mean?
Man United,
what do
if
you
Man
mean?
The
United
money
had
you
money.
spent on Cunha and Sesko together,
yeah,
wouldn't that
that's
get
2
you?
players? That's
Alvarez.
2 players. That's not
Yeah,
one.
Yeah,
You-
but this one player is much better than both
Yeah.
by miles.
No, he's not better than both of them combined. That's a lie.
Julian
straight up
Alvarez. You
lie.
don't think
I'm
most
lying.
people would say
Scott,
Julian
He's
Alvarez
got
is
about
not better?
13
Oh,
goals
yeah.
this season. You're straight up lying now. You're just going to straight up lie
Stop
about
that
he's better than both
garbage,
of
bro.
them.
Because he plays for Atletico, but you know his quality. If he
What do
plays
you
for a
mean?
team that has
They
Bruno
fucking score
Fernandes,
loads of goals. Solos
If he
got 20
plays-
goals like last season, bro. What are we
he
doing here?
plays. I understand because the style there of them crossing and all suits him. But
You
the reality is,
let the
Alvarez
Man
plays
United
for the-
fan ticket to Man United Ashraf, which is I don't want to do.
Okay. Anyway, so
No,
it's
no,
fine.
hold on.
We'll come to
You
United
asked
later.
about
We'll come
Man
to United
United.
later.
You are, no. Mo
I'm
asked
gonna
about Man
kick you out of the stream. We're not talking about Man United.
To go back to the original point, I don't think what Chelsea plan for next season has to do anything with United or any other club. I think they have to look at where did we want to be in the summer of 2026 and how far are we from that project or from that goal. I think they're quite far from that goal. Has nothing to do with United. United could win the league this season. What does that have to do with Chelsea? You get what I mean? I think they have to look at, we planned by summer 2026 we should be in position X. Are we here or not? And I think they're far away from that. I think they've actually taken a step backwards this season. I think
I
they
agree.
were progressing up until last season. And this season, they've taken a massive step backwards. And I think that started with, I think there were 2 reasons for that. One was they had a horrendous summer. I think most of the players they got in were players that regressed them, in my opinion, in many positions. And 2, I think them sacking Maresca also was a massive mistake. I get that he also spoke out and
he's
he
a
said things.
mercenary.
No, but you can say that, but the reality is, I think he found himself in a position where he's like, I am probably such an attractive asset now to many big clubs. Either Chelsea change their strategy and pivot so that it can match my ambitions, or I probably have 2-3 massive teams that will hire me later, which I think will happen.
Yeah. I agree with
Which I
you. I
think
just
will
have no love. For
Why
Maresca.
don't we rate the Chelsea team? I don't understand. Why don't we
I
rate
rate
Joao
the
Pedro,
Chelsea- I just said
Palmer,
it's individual.
Estevao?
No, there's individual players
I
that
just
we
said their
rate.
summer was bad. I didn't say
Yeah, but
players
that's
were
why.
bad.
I think it's fair for me to say if Chelsea get a competent manager, he can utilize Caicedo, Enzo Palmer. He can utilize Estevao, Joao Pedro, Hato,
Yeah, of course.
Korea,
Yeah.
Malo Gusto, Reece James. Even Fofana can be utilized as a quick defender.
I just,
Might
I
be
just
You're
say-
there.
the one who's doing a 180 degree on Chelsea, not us. Because a year ago, you said Newcastle have a better team than them. And we argued with you on your channel, remember?
That's when before what?
A year ago, exactly a year ago.
I still
Exactly April last year.
I still think that Newcastle have a very good team and competent team. I think the problem is Newcastle is that I'm telling. Let me just finish that point.
Stop. No. Don't start your line with something irrelevant. I think Newcastle have a good team. Nobody said you don't think they're a good team. You said they're a better squad than
Press
Chelsea.
is that.
Ashraf,
So
no, but he
address
doesn't listen. He
that
doesn't
line.
want to listen. Ashraf, I'm not going to allow you to do this all the time.
Then
Let me
don't tell
finish
me
the
they're a
point.
good team.
So
I know
let
they're a
me
good team.
finish. Let me finish the point.
Yeah,
at that time, absolutely yes, because they had
Yes,
the
what?
nuclear.
I
At
didn't hear
that
you. Yes,
time,
what?
Let him land.
At that time, Newcastle, yes, had a better team than Chelsea for a couple of reasons. Because they had a nuclear weapon up top that is one of the best strikers, and that by itself outweighs the Chelsea forwards. The midfield is very... let me finish now. Don't interrupt me. The midfield now...
Don't interrupt me then, right? Go ahead. Yalla.
No. If you want to talk about the forward... Okay, you know what? Before we go later, do you agree or you disagree with me than having Jackson? Okay, this is the front line that was at Chelsea. Okay, guys, I want everyone to listen to this. The front line that was at Chelsea was Action Jackson. Who else? Was Mark Guehi, right?
Pedro
Mark
Neto.
Guehi,
Last season.
Pedro Neto, hold on, and Madueke. That was the front line. The other front line was Jacob Murphy, Harvey Barnes, Anthony Gordon, Alexander Isak, and Callum Wilson. I said, because of Alexander Isak, I think that eclipses Chelsea front line. Isn't that fair to say at that time?
I don't think
Can
it
I
would have
answer
been
now?
based on the summer. Based
Hold
on the
on.
summer.
Answer now.
You didn't really count.
No. That, by the way, that was before the Isak.
By the way,
You said a
Isak
year
alone
ago.
beat the Chelsea 5.
That's my point. That's Sam. That was so
I
people
can
need to
destroy
hear.
this really quick,
That
but I
was,
want to wait
that
for
was
my
my
turn.
point. Okay, no, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
That was not your point because Mo said the team of Newcastle was better. He didn't say the front line, and he started
No,
by
Habibi.
naming.
Again, he's arguing a point that I didn't. I was gonna go to the Ashraf. I need to interrupt you because I was instead of me. See, Ashraf, I don't want to stuck on this for an hour. And instead of me going through the whole team and then let you argue, I was gonna argue a line by line. So you get the point, Ashraf. I was gonna go back to after we agree or disagree. I was gonna go to the midfield. You get the point, Ashraf?
Yes, and I'm
So I don't want you to I don't want you to talk
because
about
that
the
point-
team. I want to talk about the front line only, Ashraf.
So instead of going line by line and we slowly get there, I was making it quick so we can move on. You said the Newcastle squad was better, and you even started in that video by the defense because you spoke about how Schär and Botman and Dan Burn and Trippier and Livermento are all better than the Chelsea defenders. And Bruno
And I
Guimaraes
agree, yes. And I
Sandro
still
Tonali-
say,
please, let me finish now.
I would say
And
that
Sandro
today, bro.
Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes and Jolinton are better than all the Chelsea, not all, better than the
Not
Chelsea
all.
midfield. You said that. So you now trying to start with the attack where you know it's the easiest argument, and even I agree with you, and even I agreed with you a year ago, including David. It's pointless. Start with the things we disagreed with, which is the whole defense.
I think 100% at that time, I would say pick the Newcastle defense, 100%.
Okay, but
I
they didn't
would-
change in the Chelsea team.
I'd still pick Newcastle.
How do you change your mind now?
So,
The team's
see,
exactly the same.
Ashraf, just before you get riled up, at that time, I still pick, yes, at that time, I would pick the Newcastle defense, of course. And in the midfield, it was a toss-up, and the attack is better for Newcastle. Hence,
So now
Newcastle
who
has
do you
a better
pick?
team.
Now who do you pick?
I wouldn't pick the Newcastle because losing Isak and Schär now is older and he's injured all the time, and Botman is injured all the
I'm talking
time.
about defense. I'm talking about defense. Because you said attack.
I'm
Defense,
taking
who do you rate more?
Newcastle's defense.
I am because Reece James is injured. I would take Livermento and Lewis Hall over their fullbacks. Their centre backs, I think both are not
Botman and
consistent
Schär.
enough. So
I know Botman's
yeah,
injured.
Habibi, Schär is not of the team even this season.
Yeah, I know.
So this
Botman-
brings us
how
back
did
to
we
the
get here?
previous point. I'll tell you how. I was about to say that, Chris. Why we got here is because Mo started telling us, you guys don't rate the Chelsea team. I don't understand. Okay,
Let me try
you don't
something.
rate
Can we
them.
go through
You
the
just
Chelsea
said
team?
Newcastle are better.
But I
You
can
don't
go
rate
through the Chelsea. But I can
Yeah,
go
let's
through
do
the
that.
Chelsea team, and you don't understand. Part of actually being a good team is being well coached. That's what
true.
Ashraf.
That's
The
true.
problem with you, Ashraf, is that
We're talking about the
I think-
players last year, but now you're changing it
Ashraf,
to coach. Okay.
part of the players, part of the performance of the players is the coach and what you can get out of them. Let me give you an example. Florian Wirtz, in a vacuum, is a great player. Florian Wirtz today is not a good player because he isn't coached well. Because in the league, he isn't good. So if you're asking me today, would you take Florian Wirtz or who's having a good season? Florian Wirtz or Morgan Gibbs-White? Morgan Gibbs-White is having a better season. But is Morgan Gibbs-White a better player? No. That Newcastle team was coached very well by Eddie Howe. The Chelsea team at that time was coached well by Maresca, but I think the Newcastle team was better. Now we're talking about the Chelsea team. I am talking about the Chelsea team in vacuum because it is fair for Mo today to remove the coach because he just got sacked.
Okay, but you admit you were
okay, I see what you're saying.
You admit
you guys
were wrong
see
about
what I'm
Newcastle
talking
last
about,
season,
right? So
but you admit you were wrong about
Chelsea.
Newcastle last season, right?
No, I'm
you
not
admit
wrong,
you were wrong.
Of course.
Because you predicted them to finish
not
above
wrong.
Chelsea.
Guys, why are we having this dumbass conversation about
I
You
don't
predicted
understand
them
why
to
is
finish
Ashraf
above
always
Chelsea.
doing. I don't understand.
You predicted them to finish above Chelsea that
cares
time,
about
and they
Newcastle,
finished,
guys? No
and
one
Chelsea
cares.
finished above them, right? So by that logic, you were wrong.
I love
Chelsea,
that my
Newcastle
club
finished fifth,
causes
and
this
Newcastle
much
finished fourth,
debate,
if I'm not
man.
mistaken. Sorry, Newcastle
Chelsea
finished
finished
fifth,
fourth.
and Chelsea finished fourth, and Newcastle finished fifth.
Correct. And you predicted Newcastle to finish above Chelsea, and you used that as an argument.
Okay, so
why
that
Newcastle are better.
point, that change in a position, I don't know actually the difference in point, wouldn't change my mind. For example, about the teams, just to let you know, Ashraf.
Okay, then I mean, I guess you don't rate the team, Chelsea team. Then it's just like us. Then I guess. You
Just only 3 points. No, but here's the thing. So that's why,
Yeah, but
Ashraf,
Chelsea were far behind
I
Newcastle,
asked that,
no?
Ashraf, that's why I asked a question. And I think that in vacuum, Chelsea have good players. If they hire a decent coach, I think the team will be all right.
I can agree with that.
I don't understand how is that.
That's the point.
I
You
don't
can
think
make that
how
about
is.
any team. You could
No.
say if Tottenham hired a decent coach and brought in a
Exactly.
decent coach,
Thank
they
you,
could
Dan.
do
I think
How-
Chelsea's team is better than Newcastle's, regardless of which manager they have. Can the
something.
manager?
I think it's
coach
close.
them well?
I don't think you can say
I
it was.
see where you. I don't think
I
they're
didn't
gonna
say
be
it's
as
clear. I
bad
didn't
if
say
they
they're clear. I
hire.
said they're good. They're
That's
better.
what people fail to say. What people fail to understand from what I'm saying is that I'm not saying that this Chelsea team should go and challenge and win the league. What I'm saying is that they shouldn't be as bad as what we're seeing them now. Let me give you an example by this.
Of course.
Kai, I'm gonna give you guys an example of players so you guys understand my point. I don't wanna stick on this point. It's useless. I don't think that a good coach, can get Madueke to play well. But I think a good coach can get Caicedo. Let me give an example. A good coach can get Caicedo to be again one of the best midfielders out there because I think he has abilities out there.
I agree.
You see where I'm coming from. Like, I don't think that Chelsea teams are bad as what they are today. Like Caicedo's not as bad as what we've seen today. Palmer is not as bad. I don't think even.
Yeah, there's a fairly obvious
That's
way
my
of
point.
assessing this. First of all, Chelsea just lost to Brighton 3-0, right? Brighton are Chelsea's feeder club. So, like, you can't really see how Chelsea should be worse than Brighton. Brentford and Bournemouth. Bournemouth had their entire defence sold out from under them and their best player in the January transfer window. And they're on a level with Chelsea. Chelsea are considerably underperforming the players that they've bought. Either the players they've bought aren't as good as everyone thinks they are or were, or they're underperforming. It is as kind of as simple as that. And when you go through the Chelsea team, there is some dross in there, but there are some players that stand out. I think Caicedo is still one of the best midfielders in the country. I think Cole Palmer hasn't just become a terrible player overnight. Estevao is a really exciting prospect. But the thing that no one ever talks about at football clubs is that when we were talking about stability at Chelsea, you think that replacing a manager is stability. No, really stable clubs have an infrastructure around the manager. So let's come back to Brighton and Brentford. It doesn't matter who you bring in to Brentford. They know they get given, this is the players you've got, work with these players, right? And that's what happens. That's where the stability comes in. When you come to Chelsea, you've got this incredible, huge squad of people who probably don't get on with each other. And they started to buy into Maresca, it feels like. And then he went. And now a lot of them are thinking, I don't want to be here. Whichever manager comes in, you need a Hansi Flick, someone who's great at molding a dressing room together to come in. Because if you bring in a manager for stability, bring in Sean Dyche. You know, bring in anyone. It doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah,
like,
I think that Chelsea will be. I think it will be a disarray. Like Mookie is saying, Arteta built phase, Slot built excuses, but in the end, even with Klopp's team, Slot got a title. We'll talk up Mookie. I'll bring this up when we come to Arsenal. Arteta been bottling into a long-term project. We'll come into Arsenal in a second.
Why Arsenal catching strays right now?
Mookie just doesn't like Arsenal. He's a Liverpool fan that doesn't like Arsenal. It's just as simple as that. You know what I mean?
I think you do make a good point now.
Just a last thing for Chelsea. who do we think are they gonna hire long term? And do you guys think that Chelsea, if they get a John Terry or someone like this, can they win the FA Cup? Just for now, for a short term.
Yeah, they can. Yeah,
They can.
John
They can.
Terry.
I think
They're losing to Leeds on the weekend. They're not going to get top 6, so they can kiss goodbye to Champions League football next season. And yeah, I don't know what they're going to do in the summer. I honestly don't know who they get in the manager dugout.
You say that with such certainty, like you're saying it like I've seen the future. It's
Welcome
like
to Touchline World. Welcome
I
to
actually
Touchline.
said last season.
No, I don't. Before you go and explain all the
His
stuff you
name,
got right in the
his
past,
name, Dan.
I'm just
His
saying, like,
name is Touchline Facts, so he only presents
we
facts
played
from the
them-
future or present.
When
or
we
past.
played
that type
them,
of guy.
I'm a
when we
sports
played them
fan, so I
last
He
love
doesn't
it.
say any opinions. He just says facts, bro.
Like he said that Arsenal are gonna get a result against City. He said that City are losing to this. Like he gets. By the way, 50% of his takes are wrong, but at least I will give him the confidence. It's fantastic.
I said last
He's
season
so
when we
confident.
played them in the 37th game week of the season that Maresca will be sacked next season. And what happened? Maresca got sacked next season. Yeah,
I
I'm
said
saying
it would
very
snow
easy
on
to read the
Christmas
book.
Day.
I've seen this story with my own club. Yeah, I'm saying there it is. Their club is finished. It's a
All I
broken
guess I'm
institution.
asking you is,
I don't
because I
think
see
it's
this
finished.
online all
This
the
will
time.
be
with
Chelsea
facts.
for the next.
All I'm
for the
asking
next
you
how
is, do
many
you
years of
accept that
Clear
you
Lake
might be wrong?
Here is now. I want
He
to.
doesn't.
This is
He
the.
doesn't.
It's,
He
this is the
doesn't.
good.
Then
Guys,
then
guys.
I can't really
So
take it
you
seriously.
think okay? So Touchline just before to end the Chelsea sec. You don't think that Chelsea have a way back?
What do you mean? They have a way back, but they won't be using that way. They'll be they're going to be fighting for Champions League football for the next 5-6 years, and they'll win the odd cup like they did in the summer. They might win the Europa League next year if they're in it. They'll be there. They'll be the next 5 or 6 years, which is what they were before Roman. Do you know what I'm saying? So some of their old fans will be. Used
I don't
to
know
it.
why people say before Roman. We haven't won a league title since 2017. It's nearly been a decade. We've been doing this, which you're saying we're going to do now
Roman
for the
was
last
there.
decade.
Roman won you a Champions League in 2021,
Drogba won us a Champions League.
right? But you won the Champions League.
Ancelotti won the league, and the next season, Roman sacked him.
Right, but
Don't forget.
Yeah,
these-
but he means.
Okay, cool. But I'm
Mourinho-
saying,
Mourinho
and
was-
you won the
he's
Champions
Roman,
League
but-
after you sacked him.
I'll let
I'm
you lot
saying
go,
Yeah,
and I'll go.
exactly.
the
Yeah.
big ones.
He's
Champions
right,
League
though,
and Premier
Quest.
League, you're not winning. That's what I'm saying. You're not winning either of them.
The thing is,
I don't know about
Mourinho-
that.
Mourinho won back-to-back league titles. He failed to win a league title next season. Roman sacked him. I get that there was this hunger from Roman to get all the, top silverware and all this thing. And it's not a revisionism on his tenure in terms of saying what he did was bad, but it's almost to say what he did was perfect. It wasn't. Do you know why so many of the teams in the league right now are populated by Chelsea players who are so hungry to beat us? Because actually, under Roman, whilst we had the greatest academy in the world, almost, maybe second to only Barcelona and Real Madrid, we also never gave them a pathway. And that was also a massive criticism, which
Yeah.
contributed to
I'm
our
not
failures
saying
because
that.
we
I'm
never
saying that
replaced.
before
Right.
Roman, Chelsea were a cup team. They win the odd cup and they might get fought for something in the league. That's what I think you're going to be for the
Can I
next
just ask who wasn't a cup team in the league? Because as far as I'm aware, only Blackburn, United, Arsenal, and Liverpool, Leicester, and
You were
Chelsea have won a
cup
league
team in
title.
By history, that's what you were. Like you were that.
But,
you were-
but that can't be true because we
Roman, you
also
had
won the
one
league in
league.
1955,
league.
so it can't actually be
then.
true, can it?
No, but you had
So-
one league. Whereas Arsenal won the league in '89. They won the league in '91. Liverpool won the league. I don't even know how many times. Even Everton were winning leagues.
But they didn't win the Premier League, is my point, right? They didn't win the Premier League. So
No, but
how
they
many
won
of
a cup
these
team.
teams were pushing
You
for
won
the
a cup
different
club.
kind of
You are a
title?
cup club without Roman. If you take Roman out of your history, you have won like 7 trophies. You know what I'm saying? That's what you are. Reality it is.
So when you guys were on Straight Facts earlier and you were talking about people need to stop doing banter because it reduces the conversation about football. This is what I mean.
I'm being dead serious.
This is what
I'm
I
saying.
mean.
This is what you are before Roman. I think you're gonna go back to it.
Why we're even talking about our past beyond the Premier League is irrelevant because we started this conversation talking about what Chelsea are going to do in the future, and we can't talk about it. Look how far we've drifted away from the conversation.
The older fans will be used to that what you are going to be. That's what you're going to be for the next 5 or 10 years, or however long Clear Lake are here.
Okay, hold
We'll
on.
have to
Let me
see.
just end this. I think Touchline, you're making that assumption by saying that Chelsea will be before Roman. Do you think Chelsea will not win a league title in the next 50 years?
50 years? I don't know, but I
Yeah,
can't
because
predict 50 years.
Chelsea in the history of the Premier League won 1 league title since the Premier League started until 2004. So Do you think that is the
I
case?
said 5 or 10 years while Clear Lake's still here, and I can't predict 50 years ahead, Mo. Because in 50 years' time, Sheffield Wednesday might get a new owner, and they're dominating English football. None of us know. We can't predict 50 years in time. You know what I'm saying? You can't even. Really
I don't think Chelsea are gonna go. I don't think Chelsea.
As long as
I don't think Chelsea are gonna go before the Roma. I don't think Chelsea. I think Chelsea now might hire a coach that will take them forward. I don't think they're gonna. I think
you're more positive than me, Mo. You're more positive than me. I respect it.
Bro, Mo, we've been hearing this the last how many years of we got Champions League. Remember when the Champions League, they got Champions League and they thought they were going to sign big players and they signed Garnacho and Gittins, man.
No, but that's not the truth because the owners told us what they were going to do and they never said they were going to sign big players. They always said they were going to sign.
That's what I was thinking. I always went into last summer thinking.
Yeah, but that's the you issue though.
But that's you issue. The owners never said that.
Tried to tell people this. The owners never lied. They said exactly what they were going to do and they did it.
That's what I was thinking in the summer. I was thinking Chelsea are not signing big players. They're not linked with big players from as far as I know. And then they all said they're going to get big players. I was like, that's not going to happen.
No, I don't know. Well, maybe other Chelsea fans did. I don't know. So I can't actually disagree with you if that's what you heard. So fair play.
Just for Arsenal and the title race now. By the way, I want to say something about Alisson news. Before all the Liverpool fans that keep saying about Alisson, Juventus. I'm just going to tell you from now, based on experience, Juventus aren't going to pay money for a player that has 1 year left in his contract at the end of the season. And Liverpool aren't going to let Alisson go on a free unless they are a charity club. So, and it's Matteo Moretti, as Hussam told you guys. So all the Alisson is going for a free. Liverpool aren't going to let Salah go on a free, Alisson go on a free.
And also the last paragraph of the Fabrizio tweet is the following. Alisson likes the idea of returning to Italy, but respects Liverpool's decision and wants to assess his future with the club. So it's not like
so it is not. I don't think Alisson is going to go to Juventus. By the Juventus, I don't think they're going to get Alisson because I don't think they're going to pay money because
I think
Liverpool are going to ask for it.
Spalletti connection.
They might get Salah. But I don't think they're going to have to. Salah will have to make a huge pay cut for them to get him. And Juventus aren't going to pay that much money.
No, pay good wages, Mo. They do.
Not as much as Salah want. Like this
no one's going to give him 400 grand a week, but they'll give him 200, 250.
So for this, Arteta built phases, Slot built excuses. But in the end, even with club teams, Slot got a title, Arteta got a presentation. Shame on him if he bottles it.
Keep this up on the screen. You see, this relates to the stuff that I told you earlier on Straight Facts. The problem is, even like ideal scenario, the guy didn't win, bro. Until that's why people are not making any excuses for Arteta. That's why people have had enough of it, Mo. It's because, like, even when everything went your way, you still did not win. That's why people are not having any leeway towards Arteta. Because 2 seasons ago, when you had 0 injuries and your players were firing and everything, you still ended up losing the Premier League. All you had to do, and this is the truth people can't handle, just beat Villa at home. Just beat Villa at home and your league champs. Very simple. And at that time, the whole team was firing. Your front line was cooking. I remember me and Mo had a conversation about Arsenal's goal difference. Within 3 games against like Sheffield, Newcastle, and Burnley, their goal difference increased by like 16 or something. I think they beat Sheffield 6-0. They beat Newcastle, I think 4-1 at the Emirates. They beat Burnley, I think 5-0 or 6-0, something like that. Rice was cooking in that game and they ended up winning. And for me, I'm going to look at Terry's point because what he said is true. The problem with Mikel Arteta is, to an extent, he's actually an anomaly in football. Because no manager has stayed this long at a football club without eventually delivering.
Yeah.
And I think this is the problem. This is why, for me, yes, I'm at the extreme stage. I'm now at the stage where it could be City fumbling. It could be an Aston Villa penalty at the final day of the season. It could be a Aston Villa corner at the end of the season that determines Arteta's future and whether he's elite or not. And I think we are at that stage because it's been too long. Because the question in Arabic, they're saying ila mata, which means until when, bro? Like, until when we're going to keep doing the same cycle and cycle and cycle? Because what happens next season if they get to the FA Cup final and the Champions League final and also end up losing the league on goal? They're going to say, oh, this progress, they're fighting under the manager and blah, blah, blah. And my thing is, I always like to keep the same energy. Liverpool are the biggest failures in the Premier League this season. Me, I hold my club accountable. We failed. Slot should go. We're the biggest bums in the whole league this season, and we are the biggest underachievers. And even finishing in the top 5 is not an achievement. We suck this year. Liverpool Football Club suck. And everyone needs to pay at Liverpool Football Club, whether it be the owners, whether it be the manager, whether it be the players, whether it be the sporting directors. I have no problem holding my club accountable. But let's not change the narrative in August. We all said Arsenal had a great transfer window. Gyökeres, literally a week after signing for Arsenal, went to the Ballon d'Or ceremony to collect his Copa trophy. And this is the same guy that was scoring goals and hat-tricks in the Champions League. Forget Portuguese League. He was banging in goals. Madueke, we said, was a backup player. Bukayo Saka was there. And once again, the straw that broke the camel's back. And this is something that even Mo agrees with, despite we disagree on the details of the end of the season. Who was the guy that decided to keep Martinelli despite getting a 50 million bid from Saudi? Mikel Arteta. Who's the guy that decided to keep Leandro Trossard despite getting a 30-40 million bid from Saudi? Mikel Arteta. Who is the guy that asked the football club to sign Noni Madueke? Mikel Arteta. I can even go 2 years back. Who is the Arsenal manager that asked the club to sign Kai Havertz? Mikel Arteta. All of those decisions put together is the reason why we're here. Actually, Gyökeres is the guy that Arteta signed. I don't change the narrative, guys. I hate, and this is why I cook Chelsea a lot this season, because I hate when people change the narrative. Don't come here and act like you certain shit you said in August you didn't say. Me, at least, I own it. I said we're going to win the league. My feet are kicked up, and guess what? We're shit. No problem. I own it. But the problem is, I still remember when Gyökeres was signed and Arsenal did not sign Sesko. I'll never forget, they were like, Berta, you have changed my life. You know, the club are now showing that they're not always listening to the manager, yada, 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 yada. And now we're in this position. And the final thing I'll say on this is, I'm in the minority. I think Arsenal were better than City at the Etihad. I actually think Arsenal were the better team.
Wow.
And I think this whole conversation changes had that donkey Havertz just scored the header in the 90th minute. Had he just scored that header in the 90th minute, we're all sat here going like, Arsenal went to the Etihad and they got a draw and they're in pole position to win the Premier League.
Yeah, all league over.
Newcastle, West Ham and Burnley and they're league champions and yada, 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 yada. My issue with Arteta is not the way he approached the City game. My issue with Arteta is Bournemouth. My issue with Arteta is Wolves. My issue with Arteta is Liverpool at home. My issue with Arteta are those games. My brother, Liverpool Football Club pulled up to the Emirates with Frimpong on the wing in a completely defensive structure. And we were the better team in the second half without even Mo being there. Salah wasn't even at the So all of these details is why Arsenal are here now. And sorry, guys, just one last thing before I forget. You can say whatever you want towards me and Mo, and we're Arsenal Glazers and everything.
Take care, just come a second.
Manchester City fans. Martin is in the chat. He acts like he backed his club the whole time. He didn't. When City 1-1 West Ham happened, the entirety of the City fan base gave up on the league.
Yeah, head loss.
The whole fan base of Manchester City gave up on the league as soon as the referee blew the whistle for 1-1 City West Ham. Why didn't Arteta capitalize? Why don't you extend your league? Why isn't it when your opponent is down, you don't put your knee on their neck and just go for the kill and just kill them off? No, you have to give them breathing room. Yeah, but it's okay because City drew as well, so it's okay for us to draw. City lost as well, it's okay for us to lose. No, you should put your foot on their neck, because if Jurgen Klopp was Arsenal's manager and they were in this position, Arsenal right now, and I don't think anyone can deny this at this point, Arsenal right now would probably be like 12 points ahead of City. I'm not even exaggerating. If Jurgen Klopp was there, he would go for the kill, bro. He'd go for the kill. And what happens in the last 4 games wouldn't matter. Arsenal would probably need 1 win and your league champion.
Yeah, I don't think that.
Arsenal probably would have won the league already if they had Klopp in their dugout.
Yeah, you know what?
Easily.
What are we doing? Well, no one's going to disagree. That last time I was on, Mo made a point that I just couldn't believe. To be honest with you, there are people out there that think Arteta's the best manager for Arsenal. Like, of course he's not. Of course, there are better managers out there. Everything you just said is absolutely right, Sam. Like the point is, how long can you wait for someone to cross the line? In every major occasion where we've needed to come. I remember doing a rousing video a couple of years ago where we went to the Etihad. Come on, guys, this is your moment. And they went out and didn't do it. Like every time, like the League Cup final, and it's not the big games always. It's exactly what you just said. It's that don't concede a last-minute goal to Wolves, the worst team in the Premier League at that time. Don't turn up in a home game against Brighton in 22-23 and walk around the pitch and get beaten 3-0 in what you think is a title run-in. Don't lose to Villa. I know that's harsh because that end to the season was so good. The only defeat was Villa. But when it matters, you have to win. And the difference between the 12 men who've won the Premier League and all the rest who haven't is that somehow they get their players to cross that line. And they do it consistently enough. And if Pep Guardiola was Arsenal manager, what are we doing here? Look, of course we'd have won the league by now. That's the point of Pep Guardiola, isn't it? If I'm having to defend Mikel Arteta and say he's as good a manager as Pep Guardiola, the person who's making me do that is not watching football. Nobody on this planet thinks that Pep Guardiola is junior to Mikel Arteta. And the sad thing is, people, you made this point beautifully, by the way, just to reprise your point is, if in 1989, Michael Thomas doesn't show the calmness he does in chipping the keeper, then George Graham's era probably doesn't happen. So every great manager can probably look to that one moment where if it goes the other way. And on that basis, I've defended Arteta because I've said, we got the most Premier League goals we've ever got. We got the most points and everything, all of that. But you can only use that argument so long. You can't get to every single big event that you're there to manage. And it always goes against you and still go, yes, but I'm great. The difference between great managers and not so great managers is the silverware. And we have no silverware. And if we throw, and I don't think this, I know this about the people I speak to in football. Of course, there's extremists everywhere, and they've been saying for 6 years that I didn't want Arteta. I gave him a chance. I liked the progress. I could measure progress. 4 times second is hard to deal with. It's also not progress. You can't say being second 4 times in a row is progress. Anybody in any job that nearly hits their target 5 or 6 years in a row is expecting to lose their job. Okay, and that's the reality of trying to compete at a top level. But the reality is we don't know if he wins the Premier League or not yet. So I know that everybody's jumped on the momentum bandwagon and they're saying that Man City have won it from here because the evidence of your senses will tell you that when it comes time, Pep Guardiola can marshal his team towards results that win titles. And when Arteta has to do it, whatever he's saying to them before the game and at halftime isn't really doing the job, is it? So if you had to put your life savings and you didn't have a crystal ball and you can't tell what's happening, if you had to put your life savings on, it's a foot race now between Arsenal and Man City. Which team would you put your life savings on will score the most goals? City. They've got a better attack. Which team do you think will grind out results even when they play badly? I remember a couple of years ago I went to Palace and they got a 1-0 victory.
I'll probably trust Semenyo alone more than the whole Arsenal.
Yeah, probably.
Semenyo and Haaland by themselves ahead of the whole Arsenal.
What we saw.
I think that's mainly because
that's Arteta's fault. He built that attack.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not saying
I don't even think it's the fact that he built the attack. But that's the thing. I don't think outside
Kai Havertz is going to be
Kai Havertz
of the Arteta era. He
but
wanted.
I was going to say that too.
And Kai Havertz,
outside Havertz,
Kai Havertz is costing.
No one's going to remember failure. I grew up with Terry Neal as the Arsenal manager. Any of you ever talk about Terry Neal? Anyone ever talk about Terry Neal? 6 years at the club, 1 FA Cup. Who cares? Go by. Thanks. No one hates him. What's changed now, right? It's just what it is. People hate. I got Arsenal channels in the morning going, Arteta's a psychopath. That's childish, right? Let's be honest. None of us know him. Let's just assume that he's given his very best to win the Premier League, and he's proven, if any of us needed it, it's bloody hard to do, right? Yeah. It's really hard to do. A little chemistry here and there. Ranieri wins the Premier League with Leicester. A little chemistry here and there. Arne Slot comes in and takes over a Jurgen Klopp side, makes a few adjustments, and they win the league. Arteta hasn't done those things. Had he done them, we're having a different conversation. And the whole momentum thing is really important, but we don't know yet. So I'm saying, like most of the people, I did a show last night, everyone was saying the same thing. If Arteta wins the Premier League, give him a bit longer. If he wins the Champions League, build a statue to him. Because unlike Man United and Liverpool and even Chelsea, it really hurts me to say it, we don't have any Champions League pedigree. We're just like, nobody know about our club because we've been around forever. But we go to Europe, people don't, they're not like, we're not one of the powerhouses of Champions League. So for him to get to 2 semi-finals, the problem is, being a nearly man, no one's going to hate you. No one's going to remember you. We're not going to be talking about what defines the Arteta era. We're going to be defining nothing about this era if it doesn't bring silver.
Yeah, I think I agree with everything Dan said. And the reality is, as Touchline mentioned, I think there are some players that he decided on signing that obviously clearly
we don't know that.
Negatively impacted him, like Kai Havertz and Madueke. We don't know
that. People even like the whole thing about Arteta really wanted Šeško and Berta came in and said, I really want Gyökeres. That came from a Chelsea journalist on his Substack. It might be true, but like if you're looking for sources, you can't find them. The reality
but I didn't mention Gyökeres though.
No,
I mentioned Havertz and Madueke.
I'm saying that when we talk about Arteta rubber stamping who gets signed, there's 30 scouts, there's an entire team of contract negotiators, there's Josh Kroenke, there's all these people have to sign off on it. And I just find it difficult to believe that Arteta says, I want that one and gets it. I think you see this with Raheem Sterling at the end of the summer transfer window. Edu was still there and he went like, we've let Reece Nelson go, we've let Fabio Vieira go, we've let Emil Smith-Rowe go and Eddie Nketiah is gone, but don't worry. I've brought you Raheem Sterling. And there are people who want me to believe that Arteta was like, brilliant. That's exactly what I wanted. You've replaced 4 players I don't use with 1 player I'm not going to use. And our injury problems are going to be obvious.
So I wasn't referring to that. I was referring to the players that have been proven by Fabrizio Romano and Ornstein and other reporters, reputed journalists, who said he wanted Havertz, who said he really pushed for Madueke.
What's he going to say? What's he going to say? You bring him Havertz?
No. It's not that. It's not that. The reports weren't that Arteta accepted Havertz. Arteta accepted Madueke. The reports were he was the one really. The reports were he was the one really pushing for them. And by the way, we know this for a fact because
I don't hate Havertz. By the way, I don't think Havertz.
But he isn't good enough. The reality is he was a flop.
He hates you. He hates you. Havertz hates you because that's why you're losing titles. Havertz hates you.
The fact that Havertz scored the winning goal for Chelsea. Havertz is actually a very shit player. The fact that he scored the winning.
He's not that
One second, Dan. Dan, I didn't cut you off. 1 second. They don't have a good striker. They don't have a good striker because the other strikers in Germany are full Krug and there's other bumps. They don't have a good striker. The reality is. Even Chelsea fans, even though he's a legend he's not a legend for them, but he scored the Champions League winning goal for them, and they still called him a flop and wanted him out. That tells you all you need to know. The same with Madueke. Madueke's been absolutely horrendous for them. And the biggest evidence. One second, Dan, because Dan, I didn't cut you when you were going on the monologue. The reality is. Havertz, and you can not only even if you don't believe the reputed journalists, and I don't see why we wouldn't believe them because they didn't say he really wanted Gyökeres, they didn't say he really wanted the other players we signed. They said it about Havertz and Madueke specifically, and the evidence to that is when he signed Havertz and the rumors, and I didn't believe them at the time because I thought that's ludicrous. The rumors were he wanted him as a midfielder, a replacement for Granit Xhaka, and that was true because from game week 1. Up until mid-season, he did actually play him there in the 8 again and again and again. So whoever reported that, the reputable journalists were right because we actually saw it on the pitch. That for me was one of his biggest downfalls first because he brought a player who's not even good as a striker and played him in a position where he doesn't work at all. Then when he went and signed Madueke, again, people said he's going to play him on the left, he's going to play him on the right, and that's exactly what he did. The first couple of games, he played him on the left, I think in one of the first games. Then he started playing him on the right when Saka was injured, and obviously he didn't want to play Waneri there anymore, so he made Waneri sit on the bench, and after that loaned him. The reality is he made these bad decisions. I think with the other players, I actually disagree with Touchline and the others.
Sorry, because I know you keep saying I cut you off. I'm not trying to cut you off. I'm just seeing where we're going with this because, like, if you've been in charge of Arsenal for 6 years and you've had a good budget and you've been given more control than most managers get, and this is unprecedented. Like was said earlier. No one gets 6 years and nothing, at top club with it.
Can I interrupt you here just for one? Just to put a caveat to this, guys. me and Osam on MHF yesterday was speaking about this. This has never happened for a reason, guys. Yeah. Because no manager has been given money and kept the team stable like this and challenging every manager that got sacked. People that say that managers got sacked, and I'm not here defending Arteta, I'm just stating the fact that me and Osam tried to think of the managers. No manager didn't go backwards. Like most of the managers
at some point
went forward and got sacked because they didn't achieve. You all went backwards. No manager, I can't remember a manager probably even in Italy that kept a team that close.
There should be a trophy
and
for
Champions
it.
League. I'm not saying that. See, you're making. I know you're making fun of it, and I know.
I agree. I think he regressed us last season, and last season he should have gone this summer. But before that, I agree he was progressing.
Exactly.
For sure.
Exactly. I think that is the problem. And then people would look at this, like the board, and even some of the fans would say, "I want you to imagine a world." And me and Hassan have spoken about this. There's a caveat to what Dan said. If Arsenal reach the Champions League final this season and lose on penalties, and they win the next 5 games and still lose the league, fans will be sitting here and it's like, yeah, we can sack the guy, but
we should.
I know, but they are going to say it. And
no matter what,
that's such a good point.
I'll be honest.
I just need to say this because I feel like,
especially given that he regressed our attackers, our other.
Where we are right now, if you'd said to an Arsenal fan at the start of the season, 5 games to go, you're top until Burnley play Man City, and you're in the semi-finals of the Champions League, do you want to sack the manager? I doubt they would have said yes. That's where we are. The problem is the roller coaster of emotions that accompanies being an Arsenal fan, because you get so close and then you get kicked in the teeth and you become a laughing stock. And that matters to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't know why I disagree. I feel a lot of people bring up that question all the time. And I think Mo did, and I think many others have brought it up before, where they say, if we're
going to move to a different topic, I need to do the super chat.
No,
if we're going to move to a different, like, if it's going to open if it's going to open a different discussion, can I do the super chats? And then Dan can ask a question again, because they are related to some of the stuff like we have sharing.
Go ahead.
Mookie is saying Arteta turned bottling into a long-term project. This is where I agree with Mookie. Arteta turned coming second into a long-term achievement for some people.
Which is failure.
Here is where I agree with Mookie. Even though I said that Arteta kept Arsenal close, but also in some people's eyes, coming second now and reaching finals here and there is becoming, it's a successful project. It's not.
But Mo, can I ask you this question really quickly? You know, earlier on Straight Facts, when you, Terry, and Hassan were talking about if you were a Chelsea, if you were a fan, which club would you rather, sorry, I'm saying it all wrong. Which position would you rather your club be in? Arsenal's where you're in a semi-final and challenging for the league, or Chelsea's where you win an FA Cup but you finish outside the Champions League?
Arsenal.
Everybody said Arsenal. So I'm a little bit confused. Like, how can people be upset with finishing second?
Because Chelsea are not the benchmark.
I'm not even talking about Chelsea.
Hold on. Chelsea are on the benchmark. The benchmark is being a Liverpool, being a City.
Hold on. I get what Chris is saying. I need to finish the super chats because this is what Ashraf was going to talk. It's a discussion.
The next person that compares Arteta to Fergie, I'm going to get Mo to ban you from the chat.
No one's comparing Arteta to Fergie.
No, look, it took Alex Ferguson 7 years to win a Premier League. No, it didn't. It took him 1 year. He won it in the first season, mate. Nice one.
They mean it. Are you okay?
Remember the guy with the banner that said Fergie out.
Guys. Ferguson won the Premier League in his first Premier League season. Literally,
they're talking about the league.
Hold on, Ashraf.
Are you okay?
Okay, that's
They're talking about the league. It took him 7 years to win the league.
That's right.
Let's compare Arteta to Fergie, lads. I might as well compare everyone. Can I compare?
No. Touchline, stop.
It took Henry a few seasons.
Yeah, Habibi, stop.
We can all do this. We can all do this.
You know what? You know why people say that you're not serious? Because no one in the right frame of mind will actually say what you just said. Like, no one would say that because the Premier League started in '92, and this was Fergie's first year. He won the Premier League in the first year. No one would say what you just said. Okay, so just logical. And the problem is, I know you're a smart guy, and I know that you don't believe what you just said, and I know that you're saying it out of banter. So can we move on from this?
Over a football club that was relegated 12 years prior. Yeah, he took over
Okay.
a football club that was relegated.
See, that is a response. See, that is a logical response.
cannot-
That is something we can debate.
Ferguson already had a CV.
I need to move on.
He got saved.
No one's comparing Fergie and
No one
Arteta.
gives
The
a
best
fuck.
of-
No one. I am gonna do the super chat. Everyone, just come on. Let me do the super chat.
Yeah, and then let me get back to
Read
my
the
point.
next two. Very important.
Yes.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, show proof Arsenal were offered 50 million for
Read the one after
Martinelli,
directly.
lying for no reason.
Okay, now
and,
we're gonna share it screen. Actually, it gets worse for you. It wasn't even 50 million, it's 80 million in the summer. Arsenal might have a chance to cash in on Martinelli. It's claimed that an unnamed Saudi Pro League team are circling around Brazilian for blah, blah, blah. One of the Saudi clubs is even prepared to make a bid of 80 million for Martinelli. Arsenal are yet to decide whether they are prepared to sell Martinelli. Wait, 1 second. Because it says unnamed club, so it might be not a real source. So let's share what Ben Jacobs said in the
It
summer.
says at the bottom, David
This
Ornstein.
is on
What do you mean?
Arsenal Reddit, literally. Al-Nassr could now turn their attention to signing Arsenal winger Gabriel Martinelli. Al-Nassr have requested central funding of 85 million euros in order to make a bid. I will never come up here and create.
No. Show the other link as well. Show the other link.
Guys, there
What
was
do you mean?
also Bayern Munich that
No, yeah,
wanted
yeah,
to
show
sell
the
this
Bayern
other
link.
guy.
one.
Can you show me the Bayern link now?
Okay, I'm
Show
gonna
the
share
mirror,
Bayern
the one I
as well. This
shared.
is the one
The one I
Ashraf
shared,
sent,
yeah.
This is the one Ashraf sent. I'm gonna share it now as well with you guys.
And he
Here
was
you go.
heavily linked with Bayern in the summer.
Here
It's
you
just that
go.
they
This
went and
is the
got
Bayern
Bayern.
one.
Remember, Bayern were begging Liverpool to sign Luis Diaz, and at that time they wanted a left winger so badly that they went to Luis Diaz, who is a failure at Liverpool. Remember?
Here you go.
Wow, I did not know this.
So not only have we shown, you know the problem with you.
And that's after they
Adam?
lost on
No,
Nico Williams, by
sorry,
the way, who was the
I
number
think
one
this is
option.
important. You know, I hate when people, this is why Mo sometimes get rattled and asks, "Are you stupid?" Because of messages like this. The reason why they didn't make a bid was the whole point I made to begin with, which is
Arsenal said no.
Arteta didn't want to sell him. If you call
Guys.
Arsenal and Arteta says, "I don't want to sell Martinelli," why would they bid, dumbass?
Yeah, before Osam comes in, just to prove that, guys, I'm just going to tell you something. Because me, Ashraf, and Osam did shows all summer also about Luis Diaz. Bayern Munich didn't submit an official bid until Liverpool said we are willing to sit at the table. All of the articles before that, and Sam can bring the receipts where Bayern Munich
Diaz
are
not
willing.
for sale. Diaz not for sale.
Bayern Munich want this. Bayern Munich are trying to find the funds to sign Luis Diaz. But at no time Bayern Munich submitted an offer until Liverpool said, "Yep, we're willing now." And Arsenal, from the beginning, they were deciding, and at the end they said, "Actually, we aren't selling Martinelli." Bayern Munich moved on, and now, by the way, Bayern Munich weren't willing to pay Luis Diaz's top money until Arsenal told them, by the way, Martinelli is not even for sale. And
If you
now
remember,
Liverpool.
Diaz was not even their first option. Their first option was Nico
Yeah.
Williams. And Nico Williams
Yes.
decided
By the way,
to
all
stay
I
at
had to
Bilbao.
search,
And
all
then
I
it was
had to search-
Martinelli because Liverpool said
There's
Luis
no
Diaz is
need
not
to
for
even share
sale.
Screen. All I had to search was Diaz not for sale. First article, Liverpool tell Barcelona Diaz is not for sale. Second article, Liverpool reject Bayern Munich bid, Diaz not for sale. Sky Sports, Liverpool reject Bayern Munich approach. Third one, Liverpool say that Diaz not for sale. So if you say a player is not for sale, they won't bid. It's not difficult to understand.
Guys, Marcus, Zubamendi and Rice. Okay, hold on. I'm going to come to this. Jamal here is saying, you are telling me Arsenal offered 80 million and decided not to sell. Whatever minor, I will send it to you, Sam.
Jamal, you're missing my point. Forget the money or anything. Because you said, later on, I apologize, I'm not being disrespectful. If you want to support the channel, support it. If not, it's okay. So I know that it's not coming from a place of disrespect because you apologize and respect that. My thing is the following. So you're Arsenal football. Let's address this objectively, right? We know that the Saudi club wanted to buy, as what we've just shared. We know Bayern Munich wants to buy. You call Arsenal say, okay, Martinelli is not for sale. Why would you make a bid then? For what? That's the thing. So when we're having these, this reminds me of the Isak shit that we were saying in the summer. You know, it irritated.
You know,
me in the
Liverpool
end.
didn't make a bid until they knew that there is
Until
gonna
they
be
knew Isak is up for sale. So that's the whole point. You get me? So now you're looking at this.
You can
you're looking at
inquire, you can prepare the funds. Yes.
What you're saying is my criticism of Arsenal to begin with, which is Martinelli wasn't.
You didn't open the door. You didn't even open the door. Jamal is saying Arsenal would be lucky to get 25
Can we just get
for
to a point here? Like, it almost feels
okay.
like what we're doing is going around the houses to say that Arsenal have made mistakes. Okay. But yeah, we
But
have.
okay, hold on.
Massive
Okay, great.
mistake.
Arsenal would be lucky to get 25 million for him now. Arsenal would still get like 40 million for Martinelli now if they decide to sell
Especially
him.
given that he scored a lot in the Champions League. That's
Yes.
why. Like,
Yes.
this is the best
He's
summer
as
to sell
bad
him now.
as 20 million, but maybe 40. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
love,
always
Afi. Thank you.
subjective.
Thank you, Jamal, for the support. Always. We know that you support the channel always. Now, Marco, Zubamendi and Rice completed 38 passes and Rodri 61 passes completed, and you're telling me Arsenal played better. Both teams created 5 big chances. Big up everyone that joined us from the terrace. Hit that like button, people. Subscribe if you guys are new. Thank you so much, Terry, for the redirect. Guys,
Big up,
hit
Marco.
that like button. Let's get
You have
big up.
bunked me here because Rodri had more passes. You're 100% correct. The reason why City were better than Arsenal is because Rodri had more passes. I love it. You know, you have broken me. You have,
I think that's
you have
bad.
absolutely destroyed my debate. The reason why you were better is because Rodri had more passes. Correct.
Yeah, while I think that's a stupid argument, but I do agree with Marco that I think City were a better team, in my opinion. Because Hussam's rebuttal can easily be like, well, Arsenal had more XG, so that means Arsenal were better, right? I don't think you can pick one aspect of a game and say that's why this team was better. But overall, I do think City were a better team.
There is one aspect
fair enough.
You can pick the scoreline usually. Don't we normally use the scoreline to go who was better?
No, not really, because the team could play better and lose.
Not always them.
That happens in football.
Majority of the time.
Dan, just to end this. To end it.
But
Just to
majority.
end this. Just to
How
end
is
this.
that relevant to our argument,
Guys,
Touchline?
guys.
Oh my word.
There's a clear evidence. There is a clear evidence. PSG were miles better than Liverpool, and Liverpool 1-0. That's just the evidence.
That.
Right there.
Sorry, if I
Exactly.
wasn't trying to say that the scoreline always tells you who the better side is, but I'm saying if there's one metric, that's the one you go with, right? Like if there's one, because the job of any football team when they step onto the pitch is to take all 3 points. So however you do it, like you're talking about PSG Liverpool, where PSG basically were by far better and Liverpool caught a sucker punch. In boxing, if you knock someone out who's been beating you up for 11 rounds with a sucker punch, you win. It's a strategy. I'm not sure who played better, but I have to be honest, as an Arsenal fan, I felt shit after the game. And it doesn't make me feel any better. Some people think we played better. My impression of watching that game was really predictable. We were going to lose, and we did lose because we do lose.
Yeah.
We never get the Etihad. It's Cazorla was playing. We haven't won there.
Yeah,
so like,
big up.
that's just what happened.
Just quickly, let me go through this because there's a debate. Big up. Who would you rather have, Arteta or Slot? Arteta.
I don't know.
I'll answer
I
in
don't
May.
know. It's hard to say. Yeah, May is a better time to answer, I think, than now.
I'd rather have me in charge.
Because at least I know Slot has delivered when there was pressure. I don't like. Maybe Arteta can. Like, it's still obviously we still have to wait and see.
That was why he won the league.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Mo Salah was there with Liverpool, and they still.
Mina, I answered you straight. Mina, thank you so much.
Put me in charge of that Liverpool team, and Mo Salah got me 45 goals and assists. I would have won the league.
47.
Yeah, but Mo Salah had more GA in the 2017-2018 season, and they still finished 4th or 3rd. So, like, you have to also give some credit to the man.
That's the most GA ever in Premier League history.
Don't go down the rabbit hole. Don't go down the rabbit hole.
Did he?
Don't go down the rabbit hole.
Sorry. He had more GA in the whole season. My bad. In the whole season, he had
that was
more
the
GA.
most.
Mike is saying,
And they still did
gentlemen,
not win
summed
any
it up.
trophy that season.
Gentlemen summed it up perfectly based on the history. It is likely. Are you leaving Touchline? Yeah, he's leaving. He's going live on his channel. I know he's going live at 12. I know he's going live. Gentlemen summed it up perfectly based on the history. It is likely City win it from here, right? But I think the conversation should be had at the end of the season once the result is final. Until then, I am backing the boys. I'm just going to tell you something.
Boys does not mean we don't have a conversation now. What does that mean? Like, it's a YouTube show. We're analyzing the game. We're analyzing.
It used to mean that a lot. It used to mean that
before football content, yes. But the whole point of us doing YouTube content now is to analyze and discuss what happens week by week. Otherwise, we shut down the channel and we only come end of the season. I think, in my opinion,
like if you're, let's just be real for a second. I mean, that's a good comment because you say, okay, so what does it mean to support your club? What is more, if we play any part at all in social media and as fans? If you were going for a final and you were a sportsman, would you want your family and friends going, "You're shit, you're never going to do it from here"? Or would you feel some benefit from them saying, "Do you know what? I believe in you. Even if I shouldn't really believe in you, I believe in you. You've got this." And if it makes no difference, and let's just talk about it like we're always going to do anyway. But to this point, a lot of fans like me even are saying, we may not get here again. So I'm already upset and dealing with loads of shows and loads of people saying you're shit and having to deal with all this. And we're still technically top of the table. So this whole philosophy is maybe a little bit we have to enjoy the journey. Let us enjoy the journey. We could, if you get to the Champions League final like we did against Barcelona, I really believed. And if Lehmann doesn't get enough, maybe we do it. But this idea that I've already got to give up and say and call out and talk about changing the manager and everything, just give me till May 30th. That's all I'm asking for.
I never had a conversation yet about Arteta. I've been saying Arteta should be. I've been saying Arteta should be out since last summer. I haven't had it now because I think it's pointless to have it now.
And some people have been saying
the reality is,
got a job. And, like,
yeah, I understand. But
if you
said
the
reality
last
is,
summer, if you said it last summer, not to cut off, but if you said it last summer, why are you still saying it? Are people not listening to you? Are you worried that you can't be heard? We heard you. You all agree. I want you, in return for me listening to you say I want Arteta out and have been saying it for over 15 months, could you please give me an example of a team that has reached the Champions League semi-final for the second time in 2 years, the first time they've ever done it, and is currently top of the Premier League, that sacks their manager? Has it happened? Because if it's happened...
Nobody said they should sack him today. We're talking about what could potentially happen by the end of the season.
Well,
and I disagree with the example you mentioned. Because if you are a boxer going for a match, your family should support you regardless. But if you're talking about fans, I actually think the Arsenal fans, and this is why they call us the most annoying fan base, I think the fans have been supportive the whole season. We've had fans that have gone to the extreme of saying we could win the quad. We've had fans singing loudly in the stadium. We've had fans buying the merchandise. We've had fans celebrating the entire season and saying we're the best team in Europe. We've had fans come out. We've had new content creators come out because of how happy they are with the club.
Have been saying the manager should get sacked.
Yeah, I understand that, but that's because there was a conversation to be had in the summer, and I think he should have been sacked at the time. But when the season started, for example, I said he should have been sacked in the summer, but when we were challenging for the league in August, in September, in October, in November, in December, I wasn't talking about him getting sacked. I was talking about if he wins the league this season, whoever questioned him...
tonight? Can we just do that? Because that's the only thing that...
And then after that, we'll say, can we wait till the Newcastle game? And then can we wait?
Did you say earlier there was a Liverpool fan in the comments who hates Arsenal? That breaks my heart a little bit because I have to say, like, there is no team I respect more than Liverpool. In '89, they, having suffered the worst thing that you can suffer, and arguably the reason they lost the league was the Hillsborough disaster, they still gave us a standing ovation when we beat them in the dying seconds. And that takes absolutely... It's an incredible achievement from their fans, and I wonder if that level of fandom is still around to celebrate, to accept that two gladiators entered the arena and City were better than us again, and it doesn't require this much hate.
I think we
bottled it more than City.
You're on a stream with a Liverpool fan who agrees with you. I am the same thing. I'd rather Arsenal win the league over City. I don't like City at all.
I actually disagree with the fact that it's two gladiators went on 1-1. I'm going to tell you why.
It's not two gladiators.
Yeah, I don't think it is. Actually, fans undervalue stability in football. That doesn't mean he shouldn't be sacked, but it is fairer argument to say Arteta got us here, but could also potentially be keeping us here. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah,
that's why I always think it's the poison chalice with Arteta.
But I think this is why We could have done it last summer. We hopefully we do it this summer. If we don't win anything, hopefully we do win something. But the reality is there can be a middle ground where you say, you've done a fantastic job taking us from 8th, taking us from the mud where we were. Excellent job building us to where we were. Now you shake hands and say, since you cannot take the next step, it's time to move on and get someone else. That isn't an insult. People need to stop being emotionally attached to employees of the club. It's okay to love them. No, you're saying you did. I'm not
Let him
saying,
finish.
Dan,
Let him finish.
Dan, I swear I wasn't referring to you because I've had many streams on this Most channel and other channels where I think people blindly defend, maybe not just the manager or even other players. I think it's okay to say, this person has done a good job. Arteta is a good coach. He's not a shit coach. Anyone who says he's a shit coach, you're just trying to do an agenda.
Yeah.
But anyone who's saying he's an elite coach also, I think you're also equally delusional because there is a middle ground. You can praise him for the good things he's done and criticize him for the bad things he's done. And I think, in my opinion, his limitations, which is what I've been speaking about from the summer, I think his limitations are not limitations that can be overcome to win a league title. Because the reality is, he's just that conservative of a manager, and that's just how some managers are. Like Conte's style is to play the defensive style. Simeone's style is to play that style. If that's who Arteta is, that's fine. But in my opinion, that's not a good enough quality to win the Premier League, because it's been proven over the last many years that attack-minded managers win the league 9 times out of 10. And it's
I just lived through George Graham, so I don't always see it that way. But look, we don't know yet. I mean, it is.
Yeah, I'm saying in the recent years.
No, but I think that I'm gonna come to this. Just how the hell was Diaz a failure at Liverpool? There's a lot of people that wanted Diaz out.
Yes.
I really like Mo Salah at the start of the season when he called out some of the fans for putting not enough respect on the name of Darwin Núñez, Diaz, and they won the Premier League, they're champions, and everyone said, "Oh, we've got these new players coming in." And for the record, I'm sure Florian Wirtz is going to be a brilliant player. I'm sure Alexander Isak.
Can I just before that, Sam, can you tell us? Remember the stat that you showed on your channel about the forwards next to Mohamed Salah that didn't score for a while? For everyone that is doing revisionism on Darwin Núñez and Luis Diaz. Luis Diaz has a decent season last season where Mbeumo, Cunha, and multiple other forwards got more GA than him, right?
Luis Diaz, 1 goal in the last 18 appearances. Jota, RIP, 0 goals in 10. Núñez, 1 goal in 13. Gakpo, 0 goals in 5. Salah, 22 goals in 17.
So I'm not doing revisionism on Luis Diaz. I'm not doing revisionism on Luis Diaz.
He still had 13 goals and 5 assists. It's not the greatest.
Which is, by the way, in a Premier, it's not the greatest. But the problem is, Ashraf, I'm not only looking at last season. I'm looking at Luis Diaz.
But you cannot
in the
say he was a failure. Failure is extreme. He came in the summer
I agree
of
with
21-22.
You can't say failure. I don't think he was a failure.
He came in the summer of 21-22.
Yeah, last season he was okay.
Exactly. He came in the summer of 21-22.
Season he was just good. That's it.
And he became an immediate starter on the left wing, and Mane started playing in the center. That's the season they were going for the quad. He had a fantastic start to that season, and he was a very good utility player on the left wing in the other seasons. Darwin Núñez, I agree. Darwin Núñez, because I think if they had a better striker than Darwin Núñez in the 23-24 season, I think Liverpool would have won the league that season. If they had like a Ekitike or Isak in the 23-24 season, I think that was their league. Darwin Núñez cost them many games. You cannot say that for Diaz. Diaz has won them many games and won them cups and won them big matches.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Diaz is a failure. I just think he was good last season. That's it. Not black or white. Yeah. In the middle. Good.
Exactly.
Arsenal nobody let me finish. Nobody. The problem is it's not a discussion. It is not a discussion anymore. Luis Diaz was coming to replace. Like Luis Diaz came on and they paid money for him to replace Mane. For injuries or not injury, he didn't even live up to the potential. So for me, if you don't live up to what we think that we bought you for me, that is not a transfer that lived up. So for me, that is a failed transfer for you. In my opinion, Luis Diaz was culprit in Liverpool losing the league with Darwin Núñez in 23-24. We remember the 1-1 against City, and that by itself, because you were brought in, okay guys, because you were brought in as a replacement for a player and people thought that you would be there, for me, this is just Judge Mo, I consider this a failed signing. If he was brought in, like for example, if he was a Cody Gakpo signing and he did the same numbers as Diaz, that is not a fair, because Cody Gakpo, when he came in, no one said that Cody Gakpo is the replacement for Mane. You get my point here. But for example, Kai Havertz Kai Havertz, because he was brought in with high hopes and all the stuff, you can say that's a failed signing. But if Kai Havertz was brought in as a second striker, as a squad player, you cannot say that's a failed signing. You guys get the point. The reality is, I am saying that Luis Diaz, because of the expectations that was put on him when they signed him, I think that's a failed signing. But the money, they recouped the money. Arsenal are the overrated club, Bank of England in Great Depression 1930s period, and the Hillsborough disaster period, 2 titles, nothing special.
May I say something on this? Because I feel like I feel like defending Arsenal here a little bit. Like, this is a new era of football. I'm an old guy, right? I didn't pick Arsenal because we were successful, we were rated or underrated. I picked them as my team. That's my local team, right? And when people say we're overrated, I've never overrated us. I love us. I sing at the stadium, we're by far the greatest team the world has ever seen. Don't you all sing that about your club? Of course they're overrated. Of course the fans who chose Arsenal rate them higher than everyone else, but not because of Herbert Chapman reinventing football and creating an Art Deco facade, and not all of these things. I see so many people arguing now over whose team. I see people saying, who's a bigger club, Man City or Arsenal? Silly question. Silly. What difference does it make? Well, if you prove that Man City are a bigger club, I'm going to go, oh, well, I'll go and support them then. No, we're just having a conversation. When people say Arsenal are the most overrated team, by whom? Everyone calls us bottle jobs. All anyone does is slate us, and then I have to put up with saying people telling me that we're the most overrated club. I don't overrate us. I think Liverpool are a bigger club. When I was a kid, I had to support Arsenal, wanted to support Liverpool. Jan Molby was my hero. Like, this idea that there's some sort of who's the bigger club, who's the most rated club. Like, I don't know who the most rated club in the world is.
Probably you haven't streamed with Egal then, I guess, Dan, and
I haven't
other
streamed with Egal. I've seen Egal though, and I love his energy. I don't hate.
But that is you overrating, right? Like, there's one thing. Tribalism is one thing, and you saying more Arsenal players get into a combined 11 with Real Madrid 2 years ago, that's overrated.
Why are you listening to
him?
Unless
he's doing it for clips. Unless he's doing it. Yeah, but that's a voice in the Arsenal fan, right? That's a voice in the Arsenal fan base. It is what it is.
I'm happy to go.
Dan, it's the same way how us Arsenal fans, who are probably more level-headed, get criticism for stupid things Lee Gunnar says. That's the reality.
I don't. Like, no one's ever criticised me for something Lee Gunnar said. I hear this all the time. I hate Arsenal fans. That's fine. I hate Chelsea fans. No offence. It doesn't mean some of my best friends are Chelsea fans.
Anyway. Who cares about them? They're pricks anyway. Doesn't matter.
Do you know what I mean? But the point is, I get upset when people misrepresent an entire fan base, but that's because that's bigotry. You know, like anybody, you hear this on football all the time. Go, look, I don't hate all Arsenal fans. Well, obviously you don't. There's a million of us in Indonesia, right? They can't hate everybody, and hate's an overused word anyway, apart from Chelsea and Tottenham. But the thing is, right?
And Man United.
I don't hate Man United. Isn't that weird? I
that as well, yeah. I'm actually glad. I'm actually glad he said that. You know why? Because I think too many people have been policing this stuff in recent weeks. Yeah. I even saw on the Straight Facts earlier, Mo, Sam, Terry talking about agendas. And I'm saying, no, it's natural when you pick your favorite team that you're going to hate other teams. So if I see the team that I don't like winning, it's actually natural for me not to want that. It doesn't mean I'm a disingenuous fan and I hate my club because I want Arsenal.
Guys, I think you're convoluting different things.
No, but I do think go back to what Annie's saying is important because
not wanting a team to win,
when you can't say that.
Not wanting your rival to win is of course a natural thing. I don't want any Premier League club to win except Arsenal. But I'm saying when you're having honest conversations. No, but that's what I'm saying. But when we're having honest conversations, look, I get that there's place for banter, and this is why there's this Twitter Spaces, and there are people who love that banter. I just don't enjoy that. I like having actual football breakdown discussions, which is why you'll never find me saying Chelsea are crap because I hate Chelsea. If I think Chelsea are crap, I'll break it down to you why I think Chelsea are crap. I'll say it. I don't like this. Look, it's just not my cup of tea. I don't enjoy brain dead comments, and Arsenal fans do it too. So I'm not defending Arsenal fans. I need to take control of this.
If if
So
we
take
would
control.
get 40 million, take it from my token from my point of view. I know we would get 40 million token. You would get
No,
40
that's
million.
half what you got last summer from Saudi.
Yeah, that's 40 million.
We would.
Ashraf, support another team for goodness sake, Ashraf. That's what.
Because I don't agree. But yeah, because I don't glaze the club in everything they do.
I hate that phrase.
You're not.
Why is
Yeah, you're not
everything
here.
shit?
No, you don't say shit though. Sorry, what's his name? I don't want to disrespect his name. You don't say shit when I say Saka is world class up until the summer. Declan Rice is world class. We have the best defense in Europe. Arteta is a good coach. He has progressed us. We are. When I said 3 months ago we were the best team in Europe based on form, you didn't come here saying, Ashraf, why are you glazing us too much, man? Can you not praise us that much? You didn't say it back then. When I said Arsenal are winning,
when I say it's your opinion, that's all it is.
I am mistaken. That comment. I just wanted to put that comment up to show you how people think. Guys, we got over 600 people here, and we're only on 190 likes. Can we get the likes up to 300 live, guys? Hit that like button.
Embarrassing.
Ashraf, going back to the Arteta talk and analyzing Arsenal at the end of the season, I disagree with that. I want to know what you think. Because people say, wait until we lose. And I'm like, absolutely not.
I disagree because I know your example, and I'm going to quote that example again if you don't mind. And look, I've been saying it for a while. I said, with this current style, I think for us to win the league playing this way, the others have to bottle it more than us needing to be great. Because the reality is we've opened the door multiple times for City, and they kept not taking the opportunity, and now they finally did when Pep figured out his starting lineup. Now you notice it's the same 11 every game. He stopped tinkering. He stopped trying to play Shirky on the right, or sometimes Semenyo on the left, Doku on the bench. Sometimes Phil Foden starts. He stopped. He has a set 11. He's found the 11 that works, and he's been playing it. So, and I said this before, I think even if we win the league, and I know this is going to sound crazy, obviously Champions League is different. As Dan said, if he wins the Champions League, build him a statue. But I think even if he wins the league, I don't think it should be like, done, he won the league, no criticism whatsoever, everything was great, it's fine. Oh, yeah. No, I think we should still have questions of how he almost bottled it. And if someone, and I don't remember who I was arguing with on this, maybe Souls, where I was saying, if let's say he scrapes to win the league, let's say, as you mentioned, I'm going to use our example more. Let's say City lose 4 of their next 6 games, and we win like 3, and we just scrape to the league because City were crap, and Luis Enrique is available in the summer and he's willing to join Arsenal, would you not make that move? For me, I said 100% I would. I can recognize and say, good job on winning the league, Arteta, congratulations, but I don't think this is sustainable in the long run. Here's a world-class manager available, let's make that switch. But the reality is people don't want to have that conversation because they're like, it's black and white.
Hang on, hold on. I'm going to have to jump in here because, I'm not trying to interrupt you, but when you say no one wants to have that conversation, is there anyone who hasn't had this conversation?
Yes, a lot of people don't want to have. Dan, to answer you seriously, a lot of people. A lot of people have told me that it doesn't matter how we win it.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about now. It doesn't matter. Yeah. We shouldn't. Arteta there's no questions. Should be it's okay. There's no questions.
So he used to come on AFTV, and he's come here a couple of times on most times. He says, how could you sack a league-winning manager? No matter how you win the league, how could you ever sack someone like that?
I don't know what other people have said. I'm really curious about this because for me, there are some things as an Arsenal fan, if you come on any platform, people that you enjoy watching, debate, panel shows, anything, the question of whether Arteta should be sacked is paramount. It's everywhere. I said this a couple of months ago. Why aren't people talking about Eddie Howe like this? Why aren't people talking about, now they are. But ultimately, you can't stop when people have conversations.
I can answer you very simple. The reason why Arsenal are the main talking points, and sorry for every single fan base that find this sensitive, the reason why Arsenal are now the most talked about points, not only on Judge Mo's channel, on the Football Terrace, or everywhere, it's because Arsenal are the most relevant topic now and the most controversial topic probably in world football. Currently, in world football, the reason why Arsenal is one of the biggest clubs in the world. They have one of the biggest fan bases in the world. Arsenal are the longest club now without a league title, right? From the biggest clubs in all top 5 leagues. Even AC Milan won the league after. Everyone won the league after. Okay? Arsenal, by the way, Arsenal have the longest serving manager from any top 5 league now without a league title or a Champions League. So logically speaking, you are the most spoken about club in the world now, in everywhere. People in Germany talk about,
and I know
Mikel
this might
Arteta
sound
and Arsenal.
condescending,
And
but
I know that
I
it's
just don't think
weird,
anyone
but it's
cares
the
about
reality.
Newcastle like that.
Yeah,
Like, with
fair.
all
Yeah,
due
exactly,
respect,
because they're not
with all
relevant.
due-
They don't sell papers.
with all due respect, and also there is one more thing that people are not realizing. If Arsenal were in a banter era and you aren't close to the top, people wouldn't talk about you like this until you get back to the top.
Yeah, they
And I'm
didn't.
giving an example in Italy, right? In Italy, Inter became irrelevant. The reason why Inter became irrelevant, because it is not news that Inter were losing games and losing the league. It became years and years and years of Inter didn't even reach the Champions League. Arsenal, guys, are top of the league the most days over the last 4 years. Arsenal in a quarter-final, semi-final, might be a final of the Champions League. So logically, it's the most controversial topic in world football.
I absolutely get it. That's why I was pushing back a little bit when I said that people don't want to have this conversation, because if no one wanted to have this conversation, why is it such a common conversation? I'm not disagreeing, by the way, and the reasons why we're talking about it. It is a rolling of the dice. When you give a manager 6 years and a budget that he wants as competitive with anyone else, and you can't do that. Like I always say this, I think when Arteta sat down in front of Stan Kroenke and Stan Kroenke made the slightly weird decision to hire him, because it was an unusual decision. I'm sure he wasn't saying, look, in 10 years time we'll win a Premier League. He would have had a 5 or 6 year plan, and we've reached it now. So at this point, stick or twist. Do you give him 1 more year or not? None of us get to influence that, but I think most of the fans, and I think Ashraf is typical of that, was saying, look, we have reached our point now where we can see this is not the man to do the job. I'm not angry with him, not hateful of him, but just like, if you were having a heart transplant and you could choose the guy to do it, you wouldn't pick this guy, because every person that he's done a successful heart transplant with for the last 6 years has died. And so you just kind of go, I'm not saying he won't ever get it right, but I'm just saying I don't want it to be my club he has another go on. And the reality is, I think a lot of us would accept he might go to a club in Spain and win the Champions League, and we all look like really silly at that point. But I think all I'm saying is that it's just bizarre to me. And for all the points you made very well about the narrative, it's bizarre that we are currently, at least for another couple of hours, top of the league.
But you agree? But do you agree that you fumbled already?
No, I can't say that, because unlike some people,
What?
I don't have a crystal ball. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm like saying, look, I get this.
You already laid the second.
Let me ask you a question.
Go
Let me
ahead,
ask you a
go ahead.
question. Your question directly. Little Manchester City, little known club who, with just on a shoestring budget and a little known manager that no one's ever heard of, somehow overtake mighty Arsenal to win their 7th league. No, look, we at the start of this season,
Because we led them down, not because they were superior.
Oh, yeah. And so did Liverpool, and so did everyone else. When you win the league, it's because no one else did. And
This
so
never happened.
No, but there's a difference. There's a difference. One is in the summer. At least I've said this. I know others. If Arsenal fans didn't say this, fair enough. They can't use this argument. I've said since the summer we have the best squad in the league. So going into the summer,
just because you've said it doesn't make it true.
One second, Dan.
But it's his opinion. But it is opinion.
Wait. But even if you don't think we have the best squad, you at least agree that we have one of the best squads in the league, if not the best. That's something that nobody can argue against, right?
But your point is that because we have one of the best.
My point is, when you take that into account and you take the money we spend and you take the fact that, as Mo said earlier, we're the only big club to have not won a league title in the last few years from the ones that have that expectation. This is why we criticize Chelsea. This is why we criticize United, because they spend a lot of money and they're finishing 6th, 7th, 8th, which is why we criticize them. Arsenal, given the team they've had and given how long they've been at the top of the league, given how bad their other rivals were this season, and given that we haven't won a league title in 22 years, were primed to win this league title, and we let it slip. The reality is, City didn't force their way back into the race, because even when we were dropping points,
I can't remember why I'm not trying to be. I just really want to be clear. So, are we arguing over whether Arsenal gave away the title or weren't good enough to win it? Is that the argument distinction?
Yeah. I think Arsenal. If we lose this league, I think Arsenal give away the title. Yeah.
I think that is one of the things. I've never looked back on a season where we didn't win the league and wondered whether we gave it away or weren't good enough. I think they amount to the same thing. I think a team that's good enough doesn't give
It is
it
the
away.
only season that
No, I don't think it's the same thing, because I'll tell you why it's different. Because Liverpool losing the league in 2018, 2019 or 21-22 is not them giving the league to City. They had an incredible season, but there was just another team that somehow tipped them to the title.
Klopp doesn't go on to win the league after that, they would have probably wanted a Matt.
But my point is, you do not when you review the season at the end, you don't review the season at the end and say Klopp should have done better there. Whereas in this case, you say Arteta should have done much better.
Yeah.
To win this league title.
I can live with that. Yeah, absolutely. I think we all have to accept that in summer, no silverware. We're scratching our heads and looking around for the next manager. And in the truest traditions of Arsenal Football Club, it won't be Luis Enrique. It won't be Julian Nagelsmann if he's available. It won't be Zinedine Zidane, who consistently says he doesn't want to manage in England. It will be some bloke managing in a country I've never heard of and a club I've never heard of.
Fabregas is available, hopefully. Fabregas is fine.
Okay. Fabregas is not exactly... of course, people would be interested romantically in hiring Fabregas, and he's doing a great job. Como in 5th, fantastic. But there's no guarantees, right? I don't know. All I'm saying is that every time in my life, which is not often, as a football fan, Arsenal fans, we've got nothing to say about management hires. We've not lived through many.
So can I ask you something, Dan? Can I ask you something? If there are no... Okay, do we all agree that most likely, even if you don't win the league, if Arteta stays at the job, you will challenge next season and you will, most likely, logically speaking, and you might get to a Champions League semi-final or a quarter-final?
I don't know, actually.
Logically, what do you think?
I can see your logic, but the point is, there is a point where you lose the faith of the players, right?
You think this is the year?
I think if someone like Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka has to go through another match like the City match with another speech from Arteta, it's probably I don't think this is the guy. You know.
So my question would be, if you don't think there are no guarantees with Fabregas, would you give it a gamble? Would you try if you are making the decision?
I would prefer to go Luis Enrique. I'd prefer to go for
hold on.
Same. But he's not available, let's say.
It's not available. He's not available, let's just say. There is going to be managers that are available. One of them is Fabregas.
Yeah.
Would you rather stick with Mikel Arteta, who might guarantee you next season to challenge for the league, or take a gamble on Cesc Fabregas?
I don't know.
As a fan, what would you prefer?
50-50. Well, it's a 50-50. I think do you know what, this is horrible to say this, but part of my reasoning is that I have to live amongst Arsenal fans. I love football and I love to be around football, and Arsenal is my tribe, right? So there's a part of me just wants a lot of them to be happy for a bit, because they're so angry, they're so fed up. And if we stick with Arteta, I have to put up with he should go, and if we get rid of him, then everyone can at least have a season where they go like we did with Unai Emery. Like the first season of Unai Emery, everyone's like, oh yeah, this is better, everyone's getting on, and then like 6 months later it's like, oh, we hate this guy, and it'll be a cycle. So honestly,
but Dan, what do you think? If you were the board, and let's say he doesn't win anything this season, what would you do if you were the owners?
I'd let him go.
And you would gamble on Fabregas?
No, I wouldn't gamble on Fabregas. I have a problem with Fabregas, but it's a very personal. I mean, like I just, it's like you can't ask a fan to make a rational decision, which is what you're doing.
Yeah. The only reason I take Fabregas, for me, it's not like emotional because I liked him before. If I don't care about that, as I said, for me, it's just. Again, my number one options are obviously Enrique, Flick, and all, but I'm assuming these guys are not available and will not join us.
If
they're not available, exactly. So if they're not available, the reason I'm saying Fabregas is because I think what this team needs is an attack-minded coach that can coach the midfielders and the defenders and the attackers,
and Fabregas
to play
is very
more
stubborn
expansive
about his
football,
attacking as well. He'll never change,
which is very important, bro. Honestly,
he went to probably the most defensive league in Europe,
everyone.
And is playing attacking football over there. So that tells you.
Just go to YouTube. Honestly, I started doing this since I fell in love with this guy's like story and everything. Just go to YouTube and type Como full match. There's a bunch of full match of Como, and genuinely, when you watch how he's coached his team to play that attacking style, you can see that Spanish like bred in him, and the way he's coached the attackers to go, and the way he coached
twice against Inter this season, to be honest.
Yeah, you can. It's Inter Milan, bro. Stop that nonsense. You're really comparing Como and Inter Milan. But my point is, that's why I want an attacking manager who has that mindset. And I also think, while I don't know how Fabregas will do at a big club with big pressure, right? But I do think it helps when you have a good coach who can coach well, who's also an elite winner as a player. I think if you're an elite winner as a player, but you're a shit coach, like, no offense to Henry and Vieira, I love them too. Like, but let's be honest. So far in their managerial career, and it can change later. So far in their managerial career, they failed. Even though big up Assam, even though they have winning mentality from the player days, right? You heard the stories about Monaco when the Monaco players were complaining about Henry after he left, saying he would come and push them off the ball and say, "Let me show you how it's done," because that's just his mentality. But obviously, as a coach, he wasn't that great. I think that now that Fabregas is showing he is good as a coach.
Okay,
but the fact that he was also an elite winner as a player, I think that helps.
Of course it does.
One second, people, just 1 second.
It's proven to help. The only thing I'm taking issue with, look, I haven't seen as much Como. I'm only judging him on one season. So yeah, maybe, and my personal issues don't count in here. But the reality is, if we're going to go with another, what I do know about Fabregas is he went to Como and he said he wanted to have full control over the players that come in. And that might not work at Arsenal because you don't go and get Andrea Berta. So that might be a problem. Correct. And so I don't know. But like, honestly, and on Iraola would be more my cup of tea than I've seen more of him. Like, you know, that's a manager that I really respect and rate. All I was saying earlier, by the way, is as an Arsenal fan, I didn't want George Graham and I didn't want Arsene Wenger. So no one should really be asking me. I would have gone for Johan Cruyff and I would have gone for Terry Venables and we wanted Alex Ferguson. So really, as Arsenal fans, you know what's going to happen. They'll sack Arteta and hire someone.
You know they will never sack Arteta, right?
I don't. Why do you say that?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
You know, because logically speaking, if you get to the Champions League final, even if you fumble the league, they won't sack him because the next manager isn't gonna be an elite manager like a guaranteed. So they wouldn't take the gamble of you dropping a little bit, couple of steps behind because
but you don't know that. You don't know that.
That's what I think. I don't know that, but that's what I think.
Because I remember there were reports again in the summer that spoke about they wanted a title this season, or they wanted some trophy this season, given the money they spent. And I don't know if that report is true or not, but the reality is I do think the Kroenkes will think at some point that we have invested X amount of money over the last 5-6 years, and he's the third highest paid manager in the world. I think they will think that could this affect our brand? Could this affect our sales?
Yeah. But it all depends. Okay. It's a business. It all depends if Hansi Flick is available, as you say, if Pep Guardiola is available, Jurgen Klopp, if Luis Enrique is available, because that manager, number one, brings you money because that manager has a stature in world football. I think Fabregas might come to Arsenal and finish fourth and might get knocked out of the round of 16. And that hurts the club. It hurts the image. Because I don't think that Fabregas comes to Arsenal and challenges, especially if Pep stays, your best bet. Even if Pep stays.
Yeah, even if Pep stays. I think this team, obviously we have to get some
if they think like
this team just needs an attacking coach, attacking-minded coach. Genuinely, because I don't think this team is shit. I think people are doing revisionism now, saying, "Oh, the players are actually not good enough."
Not shit. It's not shit. Saka's great. It's not even. Saka's a great player.
I think it's a very. I still think it's the best squad overall in the league in terms of depth, and I do think we have very good players. This is why I mentioned Kai Havertz and Madueke earlier, if you guys remember, to mention these are the only two players I'd look at and say, yes, regardless of the coach, I think these two players are not good enough because we've seen it before. The others, I would like to see how an attacking-minded coach gets these players to play and then make that judgment after. And in my opinion, you're saying they might not want to take that risk, but I would argue if and hopefully it doesn't happen, but if Arteta ends the season with no trophies, given where we were just like a couple of weeks ago, I think that will cause some sort of damage to the club where now they'll probably be like, we might have regression.
Do you know my problem, Ashraf, is I know it's banter and everyone in the chat will like, oh, you're defending Arteta. I think Arteta is a very good coach. You don't top the Champions League and you don't have all these days top of the Premier League and win all these numbers. Don't lie, guys. You don't win that many games in one of the toughest leagues and you don't win the games in the Champions League while you're a crap coach. Similar, by the way, it's similar to Inzaghi at Inter. Inzaghi is a good coach. You don't reach 2 Champions League finals regardless of the draw.
Arteta, they cannot get it over the line, which is why they're good, but they're not.
And I know that people think, but Inzaghi won your title.
He'd win in France. I think if Arteta, let's say we swapped, Luis Enrique doesn't extend Paris Saint-Germain.
And this is the question, and that's why I keep telling, which is what people don't understand. People say you're glazing Arsenal, and I'm saying, I'm actually not. I actually think even if Arteta wins the league this season, the board and Berta should sit with him and they should analyze the last 4 seasons and say, why after lap 40 in the last 10 laps of every race?
I wish everyone had said that. That's such a good point.
Are you not coaching the team well?
And why do you think they might not sack him if he wins nothing? That's a real possibility. Why do you think it'll not happen?
I think because of the availability on the market.
Yeah.
But what do you mean availability? Like there are bad coaches out there.
There are not great coaches that will guarantee them challenging. Okay,
That's what you and Arsenal.
Yes.
They have.
Ashraf, let me tell you something about Arsenal.
Right? They watch every. Sorry, go ahead.
Let me tell you something about Arsenal. I don't think this in the modern era has ever happened.
No.
And I said that in the top of the show. There is no top club, one of the top clubs, that was always close to the top for that many years without winning. Normally, the reason why managers, and that's the answer in people. Who?
Napoli finished second 3 times in a row under Carlo Ancelotti. Every season we're getting closer and closer and closer to Juventus. They even finished with 91 points, I think, on 90 in one season. The next season, mid-season, they sacked him. And that's when he joined Everton.
What happened in that season when they sacked him? Where were they on the table?
Yeah, they were a bit lower.
Exactly this. What happened is
my point
you always...
Yeah.
No, Ashraf, you're smart. They don't sack the manager until it goes backwards. Until it goes...
Napoli
so what I mean by...
So it gets balanced because Arsenal bottled the league. Because Napoli were always behind Juve. It's not like they were leading the race and Juve came and caught up and screwed them over. So yes, Napoli were worse next season, but that's equivalent to Arsenal being...
That's equivalent to Arteta being bad.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. That's equivalent to
Arteta
Arteta
being bad. He's going to progress into a Champions League final.
That's equivalent to Arteta bottling a league twice or thrice, if you want to, whatever you want to argue, in 4 years. I don't think the first season should be held against them because the aim was to finish top 4.
Why do you keep using the word bottling, by the way? Just what do you mean?
I think this season is a bottling. I don't think the first 2 seasons were.
What do you mean by bottling? What is it? What is a
bottling? I mean the league was clearly in your hands and you threw it away when the pressure built up.
When you say threw it away, like bottling means you lack courage. That's what bottling means, right?
Yes, exactly. That's what I think Arteta does. I think Arteta lacks courage.
Okay, that's fine. Listen, I'm not here to disagree with you.
Yeah. And that's something I've always said before. I think when it comes to certain games, and this is...
You think he lacked courage in 22-23, the season before we failed to get into the Champions League, and then the next season we're fighting it out with Man City for the title?
Hold on. Okay, so then I'm going to ask you, forget 22. Why are you saying... Hold on, Ashraf. Why are you talking about 22? I am asking you a straight question, okay, because Dan went back, and I don't want to go back. I'm asking you, Dan, a straight question. Say yes or no question. Do you think in 25-26 season, does Arteta lack courage?
Yeah.
See, that's Ashraf's point. End of
No, but...
So you agree with him, but you asked him, why did he go... Why did you have to go back to 22-23? I wanted to know what he meant
by bottling. I wanted to be sure that we were saying the same thing, because all the time... Now, bottling is a phrase you hear all the time. You hear it every time...
Yeah, and I disagree with that. Yeah. I said the first 2 seasons we challenged were not bottling.
I don't think that in every season that we've been called bottlers that we have been necessarily bottlers.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Can I tell you 100%. The difference? Can I tell you the difference between people talk about the 24-25 season? I understand when you guys dropped the Aston Villa game, but overall in the last 18 games of that season,
one draw,
it was brilliant. City, that's 2 gladiators. One of them fumbled once, which is the Villa game. City won 17, Arsenal won 16. Yeah. But this season, I just said that on the football terrace. For people that keep saying it's 2 gladiators, City, in the last 4 games, out of 12 points, they dropped 4. Basically, City just dropped 66% of their points over the last 4 games. Yet people tell me that if City win the league, it's not because Arsenal allowed them in.
Exactly.
I understand if in the last 15 games of the season, City won every game or drew 1 game. City keep drawing games and dropping points every now and then. Arsenal are the ones who dropped points against Wolves, against Brentford, against Bournemouth. This has happened to Arsenal.
Yeah, no, look, I'm
that's why when people tell me, but City have to do their job. Of course, City have to do the job.
But you know what?
Okay, hold on. Let me just say that one thing. You know, guys, what City are doing? City are driving in a normal speed. They
Yeah.
They aren't doing great in the driving. You know who keeps lacking in driving and keeps doing sharp turns? And Arsenal are doing the reckless drive.
I think we're talking about. I think we're agreeing, and I think that when you look at the league points it takes to win a league, obviously there's seasons where you have to be a centurion. There's seasons where you can do it with 81 points, and you can't argue that it's the same undertaking both times. But the difficulty I have is what we were talking about earlier, is those small margins, a phrase everybody hates, a sort of Liam Rosenior phrase. But if at the end of the season we win the league, I just don't think anyone's going to care if we won't have bottled it, right? We can't have bottled it if we win
if you lose it this season,
you
definitely lost it because you fumbled, not because City were great. Not because City were great.
In 89, we had 3 games to go. We had Liverpool at the end of the season because of the rearranged match because of Hillsborough. We had Derby at home. We had Wimbledon at home, and we had to go and play Liverpool. And I was 18 years old thinking, we're going to do this. This is our season. George Graham out of nowhere is taking us to the title. This is our lost at home to Derby, drew at home to Wimbledon, had to go to Liverpool and win by 2 clear goals. So was that because someone fumbled? Look, the reality is we have a key moment where maybe a more courageous approach would have got us all 3 points. We have not taken it. We haven't done it.
Let me do this. Yeah. Let me do this so we can get out of here. If Arsenal don't win this season, I agree. Hiring Cesc is no guaranteed he will win, but keeping Arteta is a guarantee that Arsenal will not win again. That's the argument that Ashraf is presenting. I hear that. Zayn, I hear that. Will Arsenal reject a top manager who won 6-7 ins and out? By the way, Cesc Fabregas will want a lot of different players, by the way. What he did.
I don't think he will come in. That's different because that's Como. I don't think he will come into Arsenal and say, I need 6 or 7 players. I think he'll want to bring in like Nico Paz or some players he's comfortable with. I don't think he'll ask for 6 or 7 changes. Because I think he'll be comfortable with Rice. He'll be comfortable with Zubimendi. He'll be comfortable with all the other players.
Yeah. April is a historical Emirates era. Things I don't know why.
Because look, honestly, people will not like me saying this because that's when the pressure builds up the most. It's the last or second last month in the league. It's when the Premier League even starts saying the run-in and they start putting the run-in in all their matches and stuff. Because that's when they know you need to go and that pressure builds up. This is why, while the Aston Villa one was not a bottle, right? But the reason why people can call it that, and I hear their argument, is because if you guys remember the context of that period, Crystal Palace played Liverpool before Arsenal played Aston Villa. And Crystal Palace did a shock result and won at Anfield. And now the league was no longer in Liverpool's hand. Now the league was in Arsenal's hand. Now, if Arsenal won every game, the league was theirs. And that's when Arsenal lost at home. So people equate it and say, that's the game where if Arsenal won, the league was... Because before that, the league wasn't in our hands. The league was in Liverpool's hands.
Liverpool actually were 5 points ahead. We checked it.
No. 5 points was in January. But I'm saying before the Crystal Palace game, we were 1 point behind Liverpool. So even if Arsenal won every game and Liverpool won every game, Liverpool were league champions. And when Liverpool lost at 12:30 kickoff that time to Crystal Palace at home, people said, oh my God, if Arsenal beat Villa at the Emirates today, they could win the league. The league is in their hands. And we bottled it in that game. That's why people say it could be a bottle job. I don't fully agree because the run was great, but I hear that point.
Yeah, guys, hit that like button. Listen, Ashraf Talks Football. Danny's channel in the description as well, of course. It's the Gooner channel, Touchline, Don Osam, Quiz as well. I will see you guys later tonight. I still hope that Arsenal win the league because it will have a brilliant summer in content if Arsenal win the league. If Arsenal lose the league, it's gonna be fucking boring as fuck.
I'm on holiday. Oh, that's me.
So
done.
we'll see how it goes, guys.
Thank God we have a World Cup this summer.
This will take you to Touchline Facts, guys. Him and Ahmed are live right now. I will see you guys soon, and we're out of here, people. Thank you so much for the support. Guys, hit the like button, people. Come on, get us to 250 likes.